Okay, we're live. Hey, everybody. This is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery. And today we've got the PR Power Up. This is, we've got Jeremy Notzelman from Press Advantage. You guys, any of you that have been following Semantic Mastery for any amount of time know how much I love using press releases for local SEO stuff primarily. It can be used for any number of other things, but I use it primarily for local SEO and for lead gen, and it works fantastic. And we had a course called Local PR Pro came out, and we talked very specifically about the method I use for press releases for generating the type of results that I talk about. And one of our primary distribution networks for press releases and press release providers is Press Advantage. And I've always been really transparent about that. And I love Press Advantage for a number of reasons, which we're going to get into today. There's no doubt. And Jeremy reached out to me and basically said that they were going to be launching Press Advantage or relaunching it as 2.0 with a whole bunch of new features, extended distribution, all this stuff. I'm going to let him tell you all about it. But I was absolutely excited when he contacted me about it. I was like, yeah, I'm in. Before he was like, hey, this is Jeremy from Press Advantage. I'm in. So Jeremy, how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, man. And I'm really excited to have you here, man. I don't want to take up much of your time because I know you got a lot to go through today. So with that, I'm kind of just turn it right on over to you. As I mentioned to you prior to us going live, I might jump in occasionally with a comment here and there or for clarification or to add to something that you've said. But the floor is yours, buddy, so take it away.
For sure, for sure. Let me get my screen shared out here so we can take a look.
And by the way, a little housekeeping, guys, real quick. If you have any questions, post them right on the Google event page. Jeremy said he's going to stop a couple times throughout the webinar to field some questions. I'll also try to answer what I can via text on the page as we go through them. And then obviously at the end, we're going to have an extended Q&A session, okay?
Exactly. All right, so let's get started. But you know, I've got a couple of housekeeping things too. First, I really love an audience that participates, so please ask those questions in chat. I'll do my best to answer them along the way. Like Bradley said, we'll stop a few times. We've got some pauses built in where we can, you know, answer your questions. Some of this stuff can be a little dense if it's new to you, so don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no stupid questions. I'm also going to keep an eye on who's engaging and participating, and every once in a while, if you're participating a lot, I'm going to pick somebody and I'm going to do a little giveaway. It's just kind of a way that we like to say thanks for joining the conversation today. Kind of the last housekeeping item is my kids went back to school a couple weeks ago, and predictably they brought the plague home with them. So bear with me, please, if I sound a little under the weather. You know, I didn't take any cold medication today. I wanted to be on my A game, but you know, a little bit of congestion may come through from time to time. So here's the agenda for today. First, I'll do a brief introduction. We'll talk about who the presentation's for, that type of thing. Then I'll give you a bit about my background so you have confidence that I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this a long time, but you don't know that, so we'll talk about that. After that, we'll get to the good stuff. We're going to talk about what's working today with press releases. We're going to talk about tactics, linking strategies, and so on for several different verticals, because I'm not going to assume that you guys are all living in the agency vertical or that all of your, you know, agency clients are in one vertical. So I've got a couple of different things that are great for you. Then we'll have a few minutes for Q&A about those tactics and strategies. And then I'm going to introduce you to Press Advantage. Press Advantage is our done-for-you press release service. We'll talk about the features, why we built it, you know, the background, all that great stuff. And then we'll move into the details of what Bradley just teased, which is Press Advantage 2.0, which is a big major feature launch that we're getting ready to bring out the door. After that, obviously, there's going to be a special discount offer for you. One of the things when I went through PR Pro that I noticed is Bradley says, you know what, I really wish Press Advantage gave us a discount. And that's why I got on the phone with Bradley and we said, you know what, let's get this done. But don't jump at the very first offer, because unlike most webinars that I've done and I've been on, you know, we have a second one. Literally at the last minute, last night, after my whole family went to bed, I added a second offer because I just wasn't totally thrilled that that first offer would hit home for everybody. It's only for a certain type of, you know, customer, so don't worry if it's not for you, but definitely stick around to the very end. I guarantee it's worth it.
Yes, sir. I agree with that.
Yeah, Bradley knows what I'm talking about, and he was asking about a couple of new accounts for that under that offer too. So we'll go from there. After the offer's on the table, I'll stick around as long as you guys need me to. I've got my entire day blocked off for you, at least until I have to go pick up my kids, and I'll answer whatever questions are there. Does that sound fair, guys?
That sounds awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Perfect. So the last thing I want to throw out there before I get started, throughout the presentation, I've got screenshots of results and things like that. And most sales presentations, they'll go back for the last couple of years and they'll cherry pick results and find the ones that look great. These are all fresh. Literally last week, I went through the last month or so of releases, did some keyword research or searches on the keywords that these releases are targeting, and I use those. And so I'm not cherry picking. These are real consistent results that folks are getting day in and day out using Press Advantage and press releases. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So press releases work for any type of client. They work for brick and mortar. They work for online businesses, offline businesses, physical products businesses, info products, Amazon, Shopify, just about anything that you can think of, press releases work great for. And that's because they are a fundamental way of getting your story out to a lot of people, out into the search engines where the Google and other crawlers find them, and drive all of that traffic and all of that relevance and all of that link juice, quote unquote, back to you. So as we all know, we want high dollar clients. We want to get them, we want to keep them. And the big secret to doing that is to be able to deliver consistent and reliable results. It's really simple. When you deliver results, your clients make more money. When your clients make more money, they keep paying you. When you delight your customers with results beyond their wildest dreams, they refer you to your buddies. They give you the glowing testimonials that you can put on your webpage, and they go to the local Chamber of Commerce meetings and sing your praises and get you that much more referral traffic. So here's just kind of like I said, a smattering of some of these result screenshots. Any type of result you're after, you're going to be able to get, whether it's the map pack, whether it's local results, it's content results on some of these, harder buyer keywords for e-commerce. You can get these results. SEO is complicated. There's a lot of moving parts. Our clients bring us on board because they don't care how hard it is. They just want the results. They want these results that affect their bottom line today, tomorrow, and into next year. Like I said, they want to own the map pack. Again, these are not cherry pick pictures. This is consistent results. These guys on the right that are, doing the employment agency, they have lock down a multi-location client, and they are getting these types of rankings: top map pack, multiple front page listings, using press releases as the core. And these are big giant keywords, big cities, low, they're looking for temp labor, they're looking for employment agencies, all of these expensive keywords, and they're owning it using press releases at the core of their process. Obviously, we also want to own as much as we can of the different, search pages. It's kind of tough to see, but in that award shop, even a press release is ranking on that front page, and you'll see on the next slide, it ranked pretty darn quick. And again, these are not small competition sites. There's 12 million results on one of those, 3 million on another one. For the e-commerce site on the left, one of those search results has 104 million competitive sites. I mean, you can get some serious rankings and you can get them quick. Like I said, quick is important. This one on the left, that press release on the very top of Google for that keyword that they're targeting, it got there in days. It's been there for months, top 2 and the sidebar. The one on the left, within 4 days, that press release was ranking, it's number 7 for that search. And that's a 7.5 million search, or yeah. So getting these results can be pretty tough. Most clients don't know where to start getting rankings. They don't know how to start getting results, and that's why they came to you for the first place. You know that getting results is hard work, and those are real results that you're after. The lasting results, they leave your clients begging for more and paying you every month like clockwork. You're a smart and savvy marketer, and you're willing to invest time and money in things that really move the needle for you and your clients, like the training you get from Bradley and the rest of the crew over at Semantic Mastery. So I know you already understand this concept of working smarter and not harder. But I'm always looking for an edge over the competition. I want the kind of edge that lets me deliver results that command not just that great price, but a premium price. The kind of edge that provides results that blow the competition completely out of the water. And the perfect solutions are the ones that work day in, day out, practically on autopilot. Do you guys like solutions like that, Bradley?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want those shortcuts, but they got to deliver legitimate results that last, and I want something that I can turn into a ranking machine. But let's switch over to me a little bit so you kind of understand who I am. As you could probably tell, I'm not a polished salesman. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not going to wow you with pictures of me with rented Lamborghinis or any of that fake wealth stuff that the gurus like to flash around. I'm a pretty down-to-earth guy. My wife and I, we live on a farm in a small county in Washington State. We have a bunch of kids and more animals that I know what to do with. And that is my driveway in the picture, actually. That's a fall shot of my driveway. It's pretty awesome. I've been in the tech industry for over 25 years. I was on the internet before it was even called the internet. And for those of you who are old like me, I once used a 150 baud acoustic coupler as my main connection source, if that makes any sense to you. I've been a high-powered tech exec for most of my career. I've worked for giant companies running big teams, big budgets, and I've delivered results along the way. I lived through the dot-com boom and the bust. I was there when pets.com was the big thing. The one thing I learned throughout my entire career is relationships and taking care of people, and not viewing them as a paycheck is just critical to my success. And big companies don't care about you. They don't care about me. So I walked away from everything. I walked away from all of it to focus on bringing my skills, my expertise, my experience to the internet marketing field. It was a no-brainer for me. It was a way where I could bring my experience to bear, my skill set. And taking care of other people like you wasn't optional. It was and still is a core part of my personal philosophy. Relationships matter. Taking care of people matters. So I moved out of the city, away from the rat race, and to a place where I can focus on what matters, my family and helping people like you reach their goals. Now, remember those solutions I talked about earlier, the ones that provide consistent, reliable results day in, day out? Well, that's what I focus on now. I build tools that deliver those solutions to savvy marketers. Now, take note of those numbers. Those are going to be kind of relevant later. It doesn't look like much, but we'll talk about it in a minute. Back in 2008, when I started taking internet marketing seriously, I did everything quote unquote right. I did it by hand. I built links, I wrote guest posts, did content marketing, everything I was supposed to do. And it took forever, especially since I was doing it in my so-called spare time when I wasn't working for the man at Microsoft. I was getting good results, but it cost me a lot of time. It didn't take long to realize there was definitely had to be a better way. So I started writing code. I automated as much of it as I could. Long story short, I quit Microsoft and I met Bobby, my business partner, and we built and sold access to an automatic SEO link building tool. Now, this wasn't just any tool, but it was one that fundamentally changed the SEO game for us. And then we expanded it a little bit to our friends. We were just going to keep it secret, but we knew we had to share it with our friends. And then pretty soon, friends of friends came in. And before you know it, we had built an SEO co-op for us and a couple of our close friends. We all benefited from this exclusive co-op because we got volume discounts. We had this automation tool. We were able to, share things that we had learned. It was like a mastermind before we really had a lot of masterminds out there. Eventually, we decided we weren't going to keep this co-op closed to new members, so we opened it up and we sold access to this automatic tool. And pretty soon, we were helping SEO consultants and agencies around the world. Now, Bobby and I did pretty well with this link building secret weapon. Frankly, we did really well. And our customers were consistently owning their markets thanks to the results that it delivered. And this tool built solid links, carried real weight. We had automation to build link wheels, private blog networks, multi-tiered pyramid link structures, and more. Literally on autopilot. All we had to do was feed that machine keywords to target and tweak our campaign settings a little bit here and there, and it went to work day in, day out. It was the perfect system. Until Google decided that they were going to get pretty hardcore about what they wanted people to do with link building. So in 2013, while our techniques were still working great for people who were experienced SEOs that had a good, solid strategy, they weren't working real well for folks that were just taking stuff off of Warrior Forum and other places like that and doing what everyone else was doing. Google was finishing up their Panda and Penguin iterations, and a lot of those old standby tactics that we use were not delivering the results that they used to. And so we knew it was time to pivot. We knew how to build quality software tools that took the heavy lifting away from us and the tedium away from us, and got solid rankings and search results. And so that's what we did. We took a long, hard look at what was working well and built a new tool. We found there was a huge correlation in a certain type of backlink, and not just a small correlation, a huge correlation. Google was loving backlinks from news domains. Press releases, to paraphrase what Bradley has said before, they're a cheat code for consistent and reliable rankings. But that's not the only thing that we found. Just getting a few press release links wasn't enough. The real key was consistency. And as we know, Google loves consistent link building. And when they found a consistent supply of press release backlinks to a site, they give it far more weight in the SERPs. And that was a game changer for us. So that trick was not just use a press release or two, but it was about consistency and repetition. Now we'll talk a little bit about what happened next, but since we're talking about what Google loves, let's talk about what's working today as opposed to what was working in 2013. So this was kind of an excuse to use this picture because I think it's hilarious, but this is dangerous for the competition. This is not dangerous for you. We're going to talk about what's working today. We're going to talk about some of the results we're seeing and a few tips and tricks that we've learned along the way. And just a reminder, all of the result screenshots, those are from recent releases. They're not cherry picked from 2 years ago or anything like that. Literally, I spent a half an hour with a list of press releases and keywords and found the results for those keywords that they're targeting. And everybody, you're going to love the next picture. I love that shirt, Bradley. I don't know where you got it, but I love it.
That's awesome.
So Local PR Pro is one of the, it is definitely one of the top press release oriented SEO frameworks I've seen, if not the best out there. And I've seen a lot of them. So if you're on this call and you haven't bought Local PR Pro, do it. It's a game changer for you.
I did not pay Jeremy to say that.
No, he didn't pay me a dime to do this. I am convinced. I've been through Local PR Pro and I've been through the Local GMB Pro courses, and they are fantastic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Like I said, Bradley says press releases are a cheat code for local marketing, but Local PR Pro, it teaches you how to use them the right way. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that Bradley teaches and some of the things that we do, but I don't want to give away too much. So some of this stuff may not make complete sense to you if you're not a Local PR Pro owner. And so if you aren't, buy it. If you are and it still doesn't make sense to you, go through that content again and it'll start ringing some bells.
That's it.
So content marketing. Content marketing has kind of come full circle from what we can see. It's still king in our book. We love content. We think that websites rank best when there's two major factors going on. They've got solid on-site work, which means, of course, you have good siloed content, you have good linking structures, all of your technical SEO, your technical on-site stuff is done, and you've got great content. Obviously, none of this is news to you, and some of these strategies work great on thin content sites, but you start getting the serious results when you are working with sites with great content, long content, thousands of words per article. Give Google meat. You don't have to go the Neil Patel route and do 20,000 words in an article, which frankly is completely ridiculous. But, you also don't want to have 300-400, word articles, because that doesn't give the search engines anything to do. The other, quote unquote, big surprise is keep a solid flow of content coming. Keep it going, right? You know, you should be posting to your blog regularly, weekly at minimum, in my estimation. Get that fresh content. You want Google's bots to live on your site. You want them to give you that extra attention. You want people to engage with you. All of this stuff is not news to you. What you want to do with that is amplify all of that content with press releases. We'll talk about a linking strategy for that later, but keep in mind, content marketing, it's still where it's at. So, you've heard all about the dangers of purging if you are a local PR Pro member. Basically, what purging is most PR sites, you know, and by PR sites, I'm talking about the news outlets and, you know, some of these bigger, you know, press release distribution sites. They will purge releases from their database, you know, months and sometimes weeks after the release. They throw it out there, they leave it there for a few weeks, and then they get rid of it. They don't want it cluttering up their databases for some reason. We don't do that. We think it's a huge issue. We think that, you know, the longer a site is out there with your content, the better it is for your rankings, the more chances those pages have to acquire links of their own. And you know, frankly, you want to be able to build backlinks to your press releases so that you can boost that link building power even more. And if they go away, what are you going to do? You have to rebuild all of those backlinks. You have to hop through, you know, URL shorteners, you know, anything like that, right? So we picked all of our distribution partners with, you know, purging in mind, specifically that they don't do it. We do have some that, you know, still do it from time to time, but most of them, you know, they stick around for a long time. And I actually have a couple of screenshots I'll show you later that talks about that, but you know, we'll talk about that in a little while. Now, that doesn't mean that sites don't come and go, right? You know, news media outlets, they change hands. You know, the big conglomerate A sells to the big conglomerate B, and, you know, vice versa. And, you know, they have contract disputes and all sorts of stuff can happen. So they do disappear from time to time. I'm not going to tell you that, you know, every pickup that you ever get through Press Advantage is always going to stay there, but we find that most of them do. But just to double check, and this is Bradley's favorite part, I think, we give you 2 spots where you can always be sure that it's always going to be there and you can safely build a ton of links to it. And that is each client or organization or business that you manage press releases for gets a custom newsroom. And we'll look at that in a minute. And then each release gets its own page, and those pages never go away. Now, those pages used to be really plain and simple, but we found out that as we grew as a company, we started getting so much traction in the search engines that people were starting to come to these release pages, not just search engines, but people, and they were showing up in search results. And so we completely redesigned them. We wanted them to look clean and professional, no big, you know, ad banners or anything like that. We wanted conversion-centric press release pages. And by conversion, I mean, I want them to go to you. I want them to engage with your client. I want them to engage with your client's social media. Bradley, did you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I wanted to say that, you know, part of the local PR Pro training, and one of my favorite things about Press Advantage, as you just mentioned, are the fact that the organization or company pages, they're great because it's like a newsroom, like you just said. It's almost like an index page that shows a blog roll of all of your press releases, as well as the NAP for your business, which is a do follow link. It's fantastic. The iframe of the sites, if it's a HTTPS site. It's just amazing. They look really, really good, and that becomes a great hub for SEO, guys. One of your primary tier 1 branded properties should be a Press Advantage company page, number 1. Number 2, the press releases themselves, the individual press releases hosted on Press Advantage, are fabulous. They really are set up for conversions. In other words, if you look at all the distribution sites, the typical news media sites that these press releases are distributed to, republished on, they're typically full of ads. That you'll see the little wheel spin at the top showing the page is constantly loading. That's so that new ads can show up. They're typically text-based. They look shitty. I mean, you guys all know what I'm talking about. They're great for SEO, don't get me wrong, but they're not good for conversions, right? They're distracting and they're annoying, all that kind of stuff. But the Press Advantage pages, the press releases, the individual PRs on Press Advantage, not only do they rank well, they look fantastic. And it's all about directing the visitor to take the call to action whatever the conversion goal is that you set up, right? And that's amazing. And that's why I absolutely love them. And again, that whole, any of you guys have been following Semantic Mastery for any amount of time know that we, Marco especially talks about iframe stacking and how freaking powerful iframes are, and being able to put your website iframed in your Facebook page, iframed into the press release page or the company page is a really, really powerful way to build links to your assets.
Well, let's take a look at one of them.
Sure.
So this is what it looks like. So every single organization or business that you are running releases for gets its own custom media room. This is what it looks like. You can see it's got the nice title. You have the logo there. You have a little blurb about the company. You have the NAP there, however you put it in there. You have links to your social media, and then you have a list of every single release that you have ever put out for that client sitting on that page. Now, the nice thing about this is you get an RSS feed for it as well. And you guys know what you can do with RSS feeds, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And you know, Bradley just mentioned iframes. The one thing that we are adding this week, because I had a customer ask for it, is he wants to be able to include this as is without the Press Advantage header and things like that into his own website. So I'm going to put up, you know, sometime later this week, I'm going to add an iframe option to this so that you can take that without my branding on it, and you can embed that wherever you want in your website.
Oh my God. So let me comment on that, guys.
A little bit more powerful.
I'm rubbing my hands together because my mouth just watered a little bit. I know Daryl Dressel, if you're on right now, you took my local iframe loop concept that I taught in Syndication Academy, the February update webinar, and just ran like balls to the wall with it. And guys, if you, a lot of you that are members of any of our programs are probably familiar with the local iframe loop method, and this would be fabulous for that, to put an iframed Press Advantage newsroom on the ad ID page would be absolutely incredible. That, a Google site, put it in Pearl trees, all those things that I talk about in the local iframe loop training, and Marco talks about that in RYS Academy. Guys, that would be super powerful. So that's awesome, Jeremy. That's a great feature that I'm glad you put in there.
You bet. Hey, Wayne, I just saw your question about whether this is a private label or whether you have a private label or white label option. Oddly enough, I just had one of my big agency clients ask me about that. If that is something that you're interested in, feel free to contact me after the call. Yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about a white label solution. I'll be upfront. It's not going to be cheap because it does involve a decent amount of work on my end to get it set up and then ongoing hosting. But, you know, I am more than happy to talk to you about that. I understand that a lot of, you know, larger agencies would like to have their own, you know, newsroom and, you know, kind of their own content feed. So by all means, we can talk about that. Awesome. So this is what a press release page looks like. So again, conversion oriented. This one includes a nice picture. Same sidebar content, although it's on the other side this time. So you get yet another NAP citation. These are designed primarily to be attractive to the eye and be good for conversion. So there's no ads here. You know, it includes your link to the social media. Again, this is what you want for a solid PR stack. Between this page and the newsroom pages, they never go away, and they get a ton of trust from our domain. These pages will rank in Google, and you know, we put out so many releases that it seems like Googlebot is consistently living on our website. Like I said, no purging. No purging, no purging. I cannot emphasize enough, no purging. You know, this is, you know, I've been around for a long time. I've built a lot of links in my day. You know, having a core anchor property that I know is not going to go away, especially one that carries the weight that Press Advantage does, is key for link building. The nice thing about building to both the release page and the newsroom page is that they're cross-linked pretty well. So you're going to get some bleed over effect from your link building, vice versa. So, you know, having a nice, you know, blended link building profile is going to help you out a lot here. So on the link building topic, it's not dead, right? Google wants you to think, oh, you can't build a lot of links on a large scale. it's dead. But nothing could be farther from the truth. You just have to be smart about it. You can't be throwing, dirty, spammy links at your money pages or anything like that, right? You can still very, very intelligently use pyramid and stack type linking structures, and they get results over and over and over again. Hey, Ken, good question about the real estate listings. We'll talk about that in a minute. I've got something you'll love. So some tactics that we like for link building, and these will sound familiar because they've been around for a long time. You start off with great high quality parasite type pages, blogs. Our press releases are good. One pagers, if you're doing local citations, doing local SEO, include relevant citations. I really like blogs and I like press releases because you can deep link back to the pages and the sites that you're promoting over and over and over again. And then sending out press releases about every single blog post and article that gets posted on that main site, that's a no-brainer. Build good solid links to the parasites. You don't want anything too terribly spammy, but good, decent links. Some parasites have enough, weight in Google and the other search engines that they can handle dirtier links. We, for example, feel very comfortable with building a lot of links to all of our release pickups, and we have seen, great results with that. And then, as is usually the case, you can throw bulk links at all of your tier 2 and tier 3 links, and they help. They don't help like they used to, but we still do definitely notice a difference.
All right, I need to jump in on this for a moment.
For sure.
So guys, those of you, again, the vast majority of our audience is in the local marketing, and you guys know, as Jeremy even mentioned, we local PR Pro and local GMB Pro, the two courses that we kind of released within a couple of months from each other because they just work so damn well in tandem. And he was just talking about building tier 1 sites that then you link, building links to those tier 1 sites and very high value tier 1 sites. Well, a Press Advantage company page is one of those, in my opinion. The individual press releases are as well. However, with the GMB Pro method, guys, tier 1 links can be even GMB posts, something as simple as a 30 or 40 word post. And now you can take that post share URL and link to that in your press release, right? You can use that as a call to action link in your press release, because what does it do? Now it's a click through to a Google post, which brings up the SERP page, right? The search engine results page, the company branded page behind the post. It's kind of like the post is an overlay, and behind it is the search engine results for the company name, right? That's what a Google post does. And so that's a great brand signal, and it's got a call to action button in the post. And so my point is using these press releases to actually boost just not only the Google Maps share URL, but the Google post URLs, the Google My Business website URL, also your money site. Like he said, your blog posts, guys. Again, blog posts, every time you publish a blog post, and you all are doing the Syndication Academy method, right? So every time you do a blog post, it should be syndicating out to your network properties, as well as you should publish a press release about it. It's a great excuse to publish another press release. You can also republish those posts as GMB posts, and now you've got a deep link into your Google My Business listing from press releases. So guys, you can get as creative as you want with these type of linking structures, which I think is what Jeremy was getting at, just as long as you're smart about it. Think about how to push relevancy through all of your branded properties. That's how you gain significant traction in Google today.
Perfect. So let's talk about local. As you can see from that first bullet, I'm a huge fan of PR stacking. And if you don't know what PR stacking is, go take the local PR Pro course and it'll teach you all about it. We love to see any excuse for sending out press releases about your local business, because the power of getting 200 plus NAP citations out the door every single time is huge. So we like to see 3 minimum a month. But we see some really fantastic results when people are doing 6 or more per client per month. So, it's a lot of volume, but the results are definitely worth it. We really see a lot of traction, oddly enough, when people are sending out press releases about reviews that they've gotten for their business, whether those are reviews on Facebook or in some of the other review sites. But I don't know why that is, frankly, but we have definitely seen that have some good impact with folks. The other thing that is really important with local marketing, and in our mind anyways, is to really use some good solid keyword research to target some of those long tail keywords, linking back to content on the local website, because we feel that really gets some extra relevance to those pages. It starts getting you rankings for those long tail keywords that are often a little easier to get. And then, as we all know, it's kind of a snowball. You start building those long tails, and you start ranking for some of the phrases involved, and so on and so forth. As far as linking goes, I'll backpedal a little bit and say that with press releases, we recommend no more than 3 links per press release. That's frankly because we think that anything more than that, Google starts looking at it as a little spammy, and we want to avoid any indication of being spammy. We have long press releases. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and we want to make sure that it's good, solid content and it's not spammy content. So I always like to see, for local marketing, I always want to see a link back to your website for some content. Give some oomph to your website. Google Maps or your GMB page is another option as well, and then part of your PR stack. If this is the first PR in your stack, and again, if you don't know what a stack is, go take the class. But if it's the first PR in your stack, then add another social link, or if you have a Google Maps link, maybe a GMB link, or vice versa. And I recommend, obviously, to use a pressadvantage.com link for your PR stack link. It doesn't go away. It's great to aggregate all of that link building into one kind of funnel that brings it all back to your website. I like linking to a release in particular because it's very relevant to whatever you're doing. You're going from one press release to another, and then that page also includes that link to that newsroom, so that the link juice passes, and if when actual eyeballs jump on that page, they can click through to that newsroom easily and read all of the other content. And then
one more
thing
I just mention on that too, guys, is and this is kind of an inside thing too, is just think about silo structure and apply that to your press release stacks, so that you can create your first press release as if it were the top of a silo on your website. So that'll be typically a shorter tail phrase, something that's more competitive. But then your subsequent press releases within the stack target the longer tail keywords and start linking up to that first level press release, right? And that's how you create a PR silo, and you pass all that relevance, and you end up gaining a shit ton of traction for that broader keyword that was the top of the stack. And you'll get a ton of traction from that.
Perfect. Now, I feel like a broken record here because I keep talking about your classes, but those tactics that you've got in Local PR Pro and GMB Pro, they work, period. And they work like gangbusters. So again, if you haven't taken it, go take it. All right. So for general content linking, or ranking, whether it's when you're not trying to rank for those local keywords, we like PR stacks. Again, like you just said, set up just like you would a content silos. The NAP citations, probably less important if you're not trying to rank for local, but if the client is a local business, they still help. And so even though you're not actively targeting local keywords, with a campaign like this, it helps, and it's great to get that, that content from the local business ranking on the search engines. Again, silos, they work really well here. I like to set those up where you have a big keyword, that's maybe a little bit tougher to crack for the base of your silo, that first PR in your stack. And then for the next releases that you stack on top of that, focus more on some of those long tails that involve that main keyword, and just kind of pile on and get that snowball rolling. Again, always a consistent release strategy, especially good because here we're really linking to content, so we want to vary it up a little bit. It doesn't always have to be the same stack, but you always want to be linking back to that same website. Again, like I mentioned before, we always want to send out a release for every single article or blog post that the client puts out, and then we want to stack on top of that. And in those stacked PRs, I like cross-linking back to other things too, just to get a lot of good diversity in there and get some flow going. From a linking strategy perspective, obviously pick a great keyword to link to the content with. That's the first most important thing. On a content linking strategy, I always want to have a social link because people like to engage with you on these social media platforms, or I guess with your clients, and then either a second content link or an authority link, or if you're doing a stack, then that's where you would include your stack link too. This works with or without stacking. Obviously, I like stacking because I think that it's just one of those game changer strategies. But if you don't want to do it that way and you want to throw out a few that have those cross links, go for it. Anything to add here, Bradley?
Yeah, just quickly about the stacking, guys. What I found in my experience through my testing is that I can get similar results from press releases without doing stacking. So essentially just linking directly to the target URL that I'm trying to rank. But what I found is by stacking, the effect that the press releases gave to that target URL lasts longer, and it helps the press releases, the earlier press releases in the stack, the ones that were stacked to rank well and to stay ranked longer. That's what I found. So it's very similar to what I talk about with the syndication network strategy with video syndication, in that if you do a ton of tier 1 syndication rings, you can get ranked very quickly, but the videos start to slip. But if you do the tiered linking strategy or tiered syndication strategy, it doesn't rank necessarily as quickly, but they tend to stick a hell of a lot longer once they rank. And I've kind of used that same methodology for the press release stacking, and I've seen similar type of results. So that's why I recommend the stacking strategy, and it sounds like you like that one as well, Jeremy.
Definitely. I mean, back in the day, quote unquote, when content siloing really kind of started taking off, it was obvious why it was working. And PR stacking is really no different. And like you said, the results are maybe a little bit slower, but you don't want flash in the pan results. You don't want the results that are going to show up and then they're gone next week,
right,
or the next time the algorithm tweaks itself. You want those to show up, and it's okay if they show up a little bit later. We talk to all of our clients and all of our customers that are direct, and we say, look, this is a long-term strategy. You're not going to come out and you're not going to get these results tomorrow. You're going to get these results starting in a few months, and you have to be consistent, and you have to be patient, and you have to understand that this is a long-term strategy. This isn't, like I said, flash in the pan. This is stuff that takes a little while, but once it sticks, and it sticks for a very, very long time. So e-commerce is another place where we see some amazing results with press releases. And I would say that we probably have almost as many e-commerce customers at Press Advantage as we do SEO agencies. There's a few reasons for that, and one of the main reasons is very early on, when the amazing seller, that initial big Amazon FBA course came out, they found us and they were using us and promoted us, and we got a lot of visibility from that. So we've got a fair amount of experience in e-commerce, whether it's Amazon FBA or Shopify or any of those other e-commerce platforms. And we see two major ways that people are using press releases for e-commerce. The original way, the thing that people were doing out the door, and was very product focused. It's 100% all about one product. The content is about the features, it's about details, it's about times and prices and all of that stuff that that would really belong on a product page. And it was fine. You would include 3 links. You'd link back to your product page. You'd link back to where they can buy, and then we always love social links. These work great for product launches, getting that initial sales push going, so you kind of rise up those organic search rankings in Amazon, for example. And 3 press releases per launch was the sweet spot. You can kind of tell I'm rushing through this a little bit because I'm not a huge fan of this strategy. The results are spiky, both from a sales perspective and an exposure perspective. There was no real good, solid strategy behind it, other than let's throw 3 releases, during a month during this product launch phase, and we're going to throw it at the product, and then we're going to move on to the next one. It's tough to even out that curve without keeping the press releases flowing. You could do it, but then it's not really fitting into this product-focused strategy. So what people have shifted to, at least the smarter sellers have shifted to, is something that's more content and brand oriented. We all know about brand, so I'm not going to go into that in depth. But this strategy is a huge long-term strategy for e-commerce sellers. The results that it gets are incredible. Takes more work. You have to have a website. A lot of these e-commerce folks that are selling on Amazon don't have a website. They don't have a domain. They don't have anything there. So there is some work involved, and that's partially what drives some of these guys to that product-oriented focus. The big benefit of this is it builds not only an internal customer list, but brand awareness as well. So as you can imagine, if somebody's buying from you on Amazon, Amazon owns that customer. You don't get their email address. You get their name, you get their physical address, but you have no real good way of contacting them. You can't remarket to them. You're stuck putting little slips of paper in your packaging and hoping that they reach out to you so that you can capture them as a customer and market back to them without going back to Amazon. So obviously the smarter sellers they're saying, look, we need to do what marketers have been doing for years, and that's building that customer list. How do we do that? We do that by driving people back to our website. We do that by building brand awareness. We do that by increasing our social footprint. All of these things. We got to get people into messenger bot flows. All of these things that people are doing in non-e-commerce fields are finally moving into e-commerce. So it's all about keeping the press releases rolling. Different topics, different products, you're cross-promoting, you're doing a lot of content marketing back to your website. Again, the usual 3 links. We want a content link to your website because that's really where we want most of that traffic to go, most of that link building power to go. Then always a place where they can buy the product. Usually that's Amazon. Maybe it's a Shopify storefront if that's where you're selling. And then a social link. The biggest use, like I said, customer list building. Great for product launches and ongoing stuff, but it's all about getting that customer and building that brand. As far as results go, this one blew my mind. And before I switch over to this page so you can see what's happening, the guy that that runs this brand, he's an FBA seller. He's a big time FBA seller. He's got a bunch of different brands, and he's been around the e-commerce industry for a long time. And he's also been a Press Advantage customer for a long time. And when I saw these results, I thought for sure that he was doing other things besides, running press releases through us. But he said, nope, my only external stuff that I'm doing is with you guys. Everything else I'm doing is on Amazon.com. And I said, okay. So here's those results. So using that content-focused marketing strategy, consistent press releases, lots of cross-promotion, lots of silly excuses to put out press releases like I got a 5-star review on Amazon, or I have a new user guide. Those 2 pages, 12 million results on the first, 3 million on the second. Those are big-time buyer keywords. He's got 4 of the top, the top 4 on that first one. And 4 out of the top, 6 on the second one. Wow. His sales rank in April, and if you don't know, sales rank on Amazon, the higher the number, the worse it is. You want to be in the top 5,000 to be doing any kind of real volume. And these are top level category ranks. These aren't, the little category that has 5 items in it or anything like that. For this product that he's promoting, he started promoting it with press releases in April of this year. 314,000 was his sales rank. So last week when I pulled this, he was in the top 3,000 sales rank. He had won an Amazon Choice Award. This product was going gangbusters on him. And he's done this for product after product after product. And these results, like I said, I was blown away when I asked him about this. I've got him on Skype. I called him. I said, look, you have to have been doing something else. He says, nope, this is just press releases. Wow. This is why I pitch this to every seller I talk to. This is why everybody doing e-commerce needs to be using this strategy.
I got a question for you. What type of volume, like for one product, what type of volume of press releases did you get an answer for him out of that? He's doing like 6 or 3 or what?
He's doing 3 or 4 usually a month for a product. Sometimes he'll tail off. Sometimes he'll boost it up. One thing I found with a lot of these Amazon sellers and I love them. I've got another business in the Amazon market. I love these guys, but they're not very process oriented. They kind of just throw stuff against the wall, and there's no scientific method against it or anything. I think part of that is because they are working with Amazon, and Amazon doesn't give you anything to work with. They're frankly a terrible partner to work with, but that's where the customers are, and so that's where they go. But yeah, so I asked him about it. He says, oh, something, it just kind of depends on how I'm feeling that month or what's going on,
Okay.
So there's no real rhyme or reason other than keep them flowing. He says that he has never done under 8 figures in sales across all of his brands since he started using press releases.
Wow.
So game changer for e-commerce, and people aren't using it. The smart people are, but most people aren't using it because most people are just focused on how do I get rankings inside of Amazon. And I don't know if any of you have these e-commerce customers, but Amazon gives you a boost if you bring in traffic from off-site, because Amazon wants to capture those people too. And so if you are having people click through from your SERPs to Amazon, to your listing, they're going to give you a boost. It's kind of one of those little things. The last thing I want to point out on these results is he's not just ranking for Amazon, which is where he's heavily linking to, but you see on that right-handed screenshot, that bottom circled page, that's his homepage. That's one of these product pages that he links to in his press releases. So he's getting rankings both on Amazon and his homepage on the front page. So social syndication. Now, I have not taken Syndication Academy. I have not gone through it, so I don't know how well this is going to match up with what you teach, Bradley. You should absolutely jump in on this, whenever you need to. But the core idea, in our mind is we want real engagement from real people. We want them engaged in press releases, and we want engagement on the pages that we're promoting with the press releases. We want them coming to your client. We want them coming to your business. So what we like to do is we like to use Buffer, and we use it a lot. If you don't know, Buffer is a tool that will automatically take content, and you can schedule it to go out onto social media platforms, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, any of the above. And you can schedule them. You can have it deliver. What we like to do, you can deliver it from an RSS feed. So what we set up is we'll take Buffer, and we'll set up an RSS feed for an organization or a client, and we'll put that into Buffer. We'll tie that to those social channels for that client. And then every time a press release goes out, that press release automatically gets syndicated to all of those social channels. Now, the secret sauce that we found is we want you to repost every single press release, and really anything that you're posting on social media that you want people to see. You got to do it 5 or 6 times to every channel. Spread it out a week so you're not spamming it. Change up the title, change up the picture sometimes, but you got to do that because all of these social platforms limit the reach of your posts. You might have 10,000 people following you, but only 2,000 people are going to see that post on Facebook. And so by reposting that same release several times and reposting any other content like a blog post or an article or a video link or anything like that, by doing that 5 or 6 times, then most of your followers will eventually get to see it, as opposed to just a small fraction of them. Again, you got to vary it up, right? You can't post the same content with the same headline, the same picture every single time. You got to change the headline, and you got to change the excerpt. You want to change the picture if you can. What we like to do is we let the first press release or the first article, we let that go out automatically through RSS. As soon as that goes out it goes. But then we'll use a VA, and we'll have them queue up those reposts. We'll say, here's your 6 headlines, here's your 6 pictures, here's your 6 snippets. Put those in. Depending on what type of volume you do in Buffer, you might be able to do that all at once. You may have to, this VA may have to go back once a week or something like that to do that. But this is where your content really starts taking off on social. So Bradley, do you have something to say?
Well, first of all, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought about reposting the same thing over and over again by just switching up the titles and images. That's a great idea. And you mentioned, I know you were just using an example, but say 10,000 followers, and maybe you post it once and about 2,000. Well, that'd be 20% reach. what I found on Facebook is unless you got a video post, especially a live video post, you're only really getting about 5% reach for text-based or image-based posts to whatever the follower count is for a page. I found that through testing, actually through some testing that Peter Drew was doing. And so about 5% reach, guys, think about that. So if you do that reposting strategy, I think that's really smart. And again, I hadn't thought about that. So I think that's a great way to do it. Also, as far as the RSS, guys, those of you that are doing GMB stuff, you know that we have an auto poster that will accept an RSS feed as an input, which will automatically republish any items from the RSS feed to the GMB listing as a GMB post and pull the image in from that. Excuse me. And so I think that would also be a great way to feed additional content into your GMBs from just publishing press releases, guys. So again, it's all this interconnectivity between all your branded profiles.
Awesome. So before we move on to kind of learning a bit more about, Press Advantage and some of the features and things like that, I want to open it up to any more questions. And I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom here, and I'm going to start answering some of the questions that are sitting here. So Greg Pippin asks or comments that he's one of the only ones here that doesn't do agency work. Greg, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We have plenty of customers that are direct. In fact, if you remember a few slides back, I had that aviation-based example. They're a direct client. They're not an agency. So don't feel bad. We can absolutely help you out. We've got strategies that work for people that are going direct. And frankly, anything that you're learning here, since it's applicable to a client, is going to be applicable to your own business too. Let's see. What else do we got here? Scrolling up, Robert asks about unlimited newsrooms. Yes, so you can have as many organizations defined on your account as you want. So I don't care if you have 5 clients or 5,000 clients, each one of them gets a newsroom, and you manage that. So if there's a change in contact information, you need they moved and you need the address to change, the phone number changed, any of that stuff, any changes, the logo changed, you just update that and it takes immediate effect on our website. Obviously, we can't go out to all of the pickups and do that because they take it, they release it, and they move on to the next one. So they won't go back and edit them. But we can make sure that everything moving forward and the ones that are hosted on our site are always up to date, which is another great reason to focus your link building on the site and the pages on our site, because they will automatically get picked up. And since Google's crawling these pages constantly, those changes to your NAP, they're going to get picked up overnight. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Wayne, we already talked about the private white label stuff. Wayne, a white label would not say powered by Press Advantage. We would white label it to whatever your agency is. Ken asked about real estate listings. I have a lot of real estate clients. You'll see I've got a little logo cloud later on to show you some of our clients. We have some great tactics for real estate. We see a lot of effective use of press releases around new listings in markets that are, appropriately sized. Obviously, if you're living in the town I live in, it's probably not big enough to be running press releases about new listings. But if you're living in a larger town, like Seattle or Spokane or in Denver, any of these small, well, I guess Seattle and Denver aren't small, but any kind of mid-sized city and up, a market with some decent prices, you're going to see some great results with just putting press releases out about every new listing. The other tactic we see working with real estate agents in particular is just like any other kind of cutthroat business, like real estate, accountants, lawyers, those personal services where you're competing against multiple people in that same, neck of the woods. You want every advantage you can get. And so we see people posting about awards that they've received. They're sending out press releases about, sales goals that get hit. They're sending, any excuse they can get to get that agent's name out in the press, get more traction, get that backlink building back to their website so that they get more traction, show up in Google News, any excuse they can get to get out there, they're taking advantage of that. So I hope that answers your questions. If you have any other questions about real estate, I'd be more than happy to get on a call with you and talk about it and help you with some strategies. And then I have one more thing later on that you'll like, Ken, so pay attention. Quit This House asks about video. We'll talk about that in a minute. Pete Hogg, you too. David asks if there's a way to redirect the link juice from press releases if my client stops paying.
I answered that just above.
Did you? Okay.
A redirect URL, David. You can use URL shorteners. I wouldn't recommend Bitly, but you can use URL shorteners for redirect links. So that therefore, in the original press release, that redirects to the target URL, whatever destination you want it to. In the event that the PR or your client stops paying you or whatever, you can always redirect the target the destination URL to whatever you want. That's certainly a strategy. I actually talk about that in Local PR Pro for the sites that purge. That's one of the ways to circumvent completely losing link juice from sites that purge the press releases by using redirect URLs and swapping out target URLs. But again, that's something that you can absolutely do. Although the problem that I see with it, just kind of as an aside really quickly, guys, is if it's a branded press release and you swap out the target or destination URL to something else, that's a little bit unethical. So I would be concerned with that, and I would caution against doing something like that.
I have a sneakier answer.
Great.
And I'm going to be completely honest. This is a little underhanded. And, you know, you talk about ethics. I'll leave this up to everybody to decide whether this is something they're okay with or not. We have the option where you can log into our platform and you click on a button and edit that organization. And so that client is represented as an organization. So you click on that client, and there's one little checkbox box that says Show on Press Advantage homepage. And if you uncheck that box, all of their press releases stop showing up, and and their newsroom stops showing up. We won't show them. We'll pretend like it's not even there.
Huh.
So that's your little kind of your leverage there. Is you know, hey, if you're not paying me, then and if they leave you hanging out to dry. I mean, if they just can't afford it or something, obviously you're not going to want to do that. But if these guys are messing around with you and not paying you and stuff, and you just want to fire them as a client because they're just that type of person, well, click the button and they're gone. Maybe they'll come back, pay you twice as much. You never know.
Does it just add a no index tag to it or something?
No, it's even better than that. It puts a flag on that organization, on that client in my database. So when our website looks it up, it says you can't show this, and so it shows up just like any other 404 page.
Gotcha.
It shows up like, hey, this doesn't even exist. Why are you trying to link here? So it's like it was never there.
Sweet.
So Jonathan asks, it's a tier 1 if this then that, or multi-tiers if this and that? You can kind of set it up however you want. I'm pretty straightforward. I just do 1 tier. BJ asks about the done for you service. No, we'll talk about that shortly. Telus asks about a brick and mortar business. It depends on whether you're just trying to get regular traffic or if you're after local rankings. Obviously for us, really anything we like 3 as a minimum in a month, but 6 or more is really kind of where you start hitting the sweet spot. Armand asks about standalone e-commerce, more specifically moving product pages and categories. We've ranked up from the bottom of page 1. Armand, these strategies will work like gangbusters for you on a standalone site like Shopify, but you have to have good content on your website. You can't just have product pages. Your product pages should be rich. They should have lots of content on them, lots of features, pictures, maybe a video or 2, all that type of thing. But you want to have good blog articles too. You got to give the search engines stuff to work with. And that's one of the biggest problems I see when I look at these standalone e-com sites is they just have product listings and they don't have anything. There's no story there. There's no reviews. There's no feel-good articles, no informational articles, anything like that. So
brand story.
Yeah, beef up the content. Always tell your brand. I had a call about Press Advantage about 4 months ago. A couple in Israel, they came in through my Amazon business, and they wanted to talk about using Press Advantage for branding. And I looked at their website, and they had such a fantastic story. The wife was, had health issues, and she stayed at home, and she made these beautiful candles, custom-made candles. Absolutely incredible. And they had just one little paragraph about it. It's like, oh no, you have to put this front and center and you will build brand like there's no tomorrow. And so, it's all about brand building. It's all about getting content out there, good, informative content that Google loves.
Yeah.
Wayne asks about limits on categories. Yes, obviously, this is press. These are real news sites. So if the FCC is not going to be good with it, we're not going to be good with it either. So yeah, no gambling, no porn. There are a few, limited distribution type things where, for example, if you're really salesy and you're just, sell, promo, a lot of our outlets are just going to say no thanks, that's too promotional. That's not what you're after with a press release anyway, so we would definitely recommend against that. The other area we have to be really careful with is claims. So if you're in the healthcare industry or supplements or cosmetics and anything like that, you can absolutely run press releases. You just have to be really careful about claims. But if you're in that industry, you're already comfortable with being careful around claims, so that shouldn't come as any real surprise to you. Does the RSS feed from Press Advantage include the image URL? Yes, it does. You get the image that you have put into the press release. It goes with you in the RSS feed. It shows up just
as a featured image, correct?
Yep, just in the HTML.
That's awesome.
Paul asks about adding the RSS feed. Yes, you can add the RSS feed from the organization into social media. Ken asks about retargeting. We'll talk about that in a bit. Distribution partners in Canada. Robert, you're going to be excited for some of the stuff that we're bringing down the pipe, so we'll talk about in a minute. Distribution good for UK. Pete, same thing there. BJ, we would definitely put out the same number, three to six press releases a month for medical businesses. We have a number of clients that are doing that to rank, their regional offices for, chiropractors and dentists and things like that. Wayne asked about publishing on TV stations. Yes, TV stations are also involved. So I think let's move on, and any other questions, just kind of keep them coming, and we will, we'll pause and ask some more questions later.
So I got just a question for everybody. Answer on the page before Jeremy moves on, or Jeremy, you can move on actually. But how cool is this webinar already? I mean, I know you guys haven't even heard the pitch yet, but haven't you already learned about how freaking amazing press releases are and why you should be using it? I guess most of you probably already knew that. But if you I don't know, even I knew it, but I'm getting excited just listening to all this stuff. So post on the page what you think. Is this good or what?
Continue. I look forward to hearing it. So let's kind of roll back to where we were before we kind of went through what's working, because obviously press releases were working great in 2013, and now we've established also that they're working today in even better, honestly, and the tactics haven't changed all that much. But back in 2013, after Penguin and Panda went on their rampage, I looked at the ranking landscape and realized that no matter what Google was doing with their algorithms, a solid press release strategy was still working. And like I said, still working today. So I decided our next tool had to be all about press releases. So first I took a look at the competition to see what they were doing. And I was surprised and almost devastated. There was way more shady and deceptive stuff going on in that market than I realized. Frankly, those big PR companies are flat out lying to you. And I knew we could do it better. We could bring our dedication to excellence and treating our customers as partners and a true relationship and not just a number to this market like we did with the SEO link building. And I knew we'd be able to blow them out of the water quality wise, deliver results that those guys just couldn't. So let me kind of talk a little bit about the gaps in the market. The first thing I found is that most of the competition was inflating their distribution networks with fake news sites. They build these big private blog networks. They'd name them appropriately. They'd make them look like a news outlet, and they'd call them press pickups.
And they're shitty PBNs with
oh god, they're awful.
Footprints. Yeah.
Google de-indexes them in minutes. They would take spammy ad-filled content farms and they'd call them niche-specific press sites or magazine sites or something like that. And they do that so that they could advertise, oh, we give you 500 to 2,000 in one case press pickups in the marketing collateral. Obviously, there's a problem there. Google doesn't care about those sites. They know they're fake. They de-index them right away. They refuse to give them the same weight, even if they do index them. And to be charitable, that's dishonest. I think that's flat out lying, but whatever. Bobby and I, company policy. We stand by our word. That has cost us a lot of money in the past because 4 years ago when we were launching Press Advantage, someone said something wrong on a webinar and it cost us probably $50,000. But we stood by our word because it's that important, period. So my first commitment to myself, my business, and future customers like you was pretty simple. No more fake news. No fake news sites. Only going to use real. I know I love fake news before, and even now, everyone's talking about it, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. It's just kind of a catchy thing.
Yeah.
I'll only use real news outlets, and I'm not going to lie to you by passing off fake sites as real newspapers, radio stations, or a television franchise. Highway robbery. The next thing I noticed was there's some crazy prices that these guys are charging. $400 for a press release that you had to write yourself. No writing included. 400 words only. And as we know, Google wants more content than that. 400 words, really anemic. So that's $1 a word, and that's just for distribution. Writing? No way. Go hire your own writer to do it for you. So the next promise was pretty simple. No highway robbery like some of these other guys. Fair pricing and affordable pricing. You guys need a great margin so that when you use our releases for your clients, you can actually make some money, right? I don't want to sell you a press release for, $300 and you're selling it to your customer for $350. I want to sell you a press release for $150 and you're selling it to your customer for $300. You got to make some money. You make money, then I make more money too. You come back for more every time. The same way you guys operate in your business, we operate in ours. So the next thing that jumped out at us is nobody's doing the writing. Like I said, you get $400 for 400 words, and that's just pure distribution. I don't mind writing, and my business partner, Bobby, he's frankly one of the best copywriters I know, and I've known a lot. But I can't say that I really want to spend my time writing. I could spend it on higher leverage activities. I could be writing code. I can be doing automation. I can be talking to people like you. I can be, on calls with customers. There's a lot of things where I can spend my time more effectively than writing. But I didn't want to use cheap offshore writers. Those guys are great for SEO articles that you're putting up on parasites and things like that, but they don't cut it if you're wanting to get a real news story out there. And everything had to be real. It had to be original, completely unique. No spinning, no copy and pasting. So again, the third promise, completely obvious. Simple access to high quality US-based native English-speaking writers that write these news stories day in and day out. And not only that, but we had to provide high quality editors, college educated US-based editors, and we couldn't charge through the nose for it either. I had to price this reasonably, and the editorial help had to be just part of the package. I couldn't charge any more for that. It just wouldn't be fair. Now, just for fun, last night, and I do mean last night, it was about 10:30 last night when Bobby and I were talking, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But last night, I priced out some of these press release writing services just to figure out what they were costing today. The best price that I could find for the same quality and same word count that we provide as part of our service was $91.86 for one release.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty obvious why providing solid writing services that don't cost an arm and a leg was so important.
Guys, if you go to Upwork, before I joined Press, because I've been with Press Advantage since you guys first launched. Literally when you guys first launched, I've been with you. And then obviously we upgraded for server space and various, whatever. But my point is that was one of the first services, Press Advantage, that started offering the done for you written press releases. A lot of the other distribution services didn't have that I had used in the past. In other words, we had to always provide our own press release. And one of the things that I found was buying press releases from content farms would get rejected by the distribution networks all the time. And it was a pain in the ass. So, and a lot of wasted time. So I ended up looking on Upwork and finding press release writers that I would hire, and build a relationship with so that they understood my voice, like what I wanted the press releases to sound like, the tone of them, and that kind of thing. And that was all well and good, but to find a good press release writer off of Upwork, you'd pay, even on volume discounts with a particular provider, I'd be paying $75 for a 400-word press release. And that would be, buying 10 or 12 per month written from that same writer. And so again, when Press Advantage started offering the done for you writing services, and then soon thereafter, many of the other distribution networks started offering it as well. I found it was not only cheaper, but it was better because there was no learning curve. The writers within Press Advantage know what to write to get approved for distribution, and they know how to do it well. And so and those of you that have taken Local PR Pro, you know that I talk about don't go out and write your own press releases unless you're good at it or you want to for some reason. Just use the writing services available for the distribution network you're using, because it will get approved quicker, and it tends to end up being a really good press release. So I know Jeremy's services or Press Advantage's writing services are really good, and I recommend just using those.
Yeah, just to kind of riff on that a little bit, that was really one of the main driving factors. Is it is tough to consistently write news releases that don't get rejected.
Yeah.
And so, we have multiple tiers. When you place a press release order, the editors look at it first. They read the instructions. They check everything. They make sure you're not looking at a target. Unfortunately for let's see, who was wanting to do the porn? I don't know. One of those guys was
Wayne.
wanting to Wayne. That's right. Yeah. Unfortunately for Wayne, that's one of those things. So if you wanted to send a release out, our editors would catch that and they'd say, sorry, that's not something we can do. So you get a first check there just based on what you're wanting to do your press release about. And then the writers, these guys, this is all they do. They write press releases all day long. That's what they do. And they're really, really good at it. They've been doing it for years with us now. We have the same writers in some, obviously not all the same writers come and go, but we still have a number of writers that have been with us from the beginning, 4.5 years ago when we started. And these guys have written thousands of press releases. These releases do not get rejected, period. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, it's definitely a factor. So the other thing is, even if you had writers or you were good at writing yourself, you have to do all the research and preparation for yourself. You got to do the keyword research. You have to, research your topic background. You need, all of that type of information. That's one thing if you're doing that for your own business, because you probably know a lot of that stuff about your business. But if you're an agency and you've got dozens of clients that are wanting that traffic authority and rankings that comes with these good press releases, that takes up a lot of time. So obviously that was a problem I had to solve too. So back in our link building product, that automatic link building product I talked about, we had built this secret keyword spy tool into it. And it was completely custom. We'd spent years developing it and refining it, and it wasn't anything you could get anywhere else. And I knew you guys would need that edge to get those sweet keyword targets that make all that difference. All those long tails that people can't find, well, this tool will help you find them. And then we trained our writers to do all of that background and subject research so that you don't have to do it. I want you to be able to give them a few keywords, or sometimes even just a URL, and have them write a high quality press release, and you don't have to lift a finger. And that's exactly what we did, and that's exactly what they do for you. Then the last thing, we already talked about this before, but those mainstream PR companies, they're basically sending out releases on self-igniting paper, and that self-destruct in a few weeks. You send out a release, a few weeks later, it's nowhere to be found. And I hope you didn't build links to that press release that's gone, because those links are gone too. So obviously there's no way that's okay. Like I said before, I focused on distribution agreements that had lasting value and didn't go anywhere. And like I said, 4.5 years later, you can still find some of our very first press releases out on the internet. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but the one on the left is from March 27th, 2014. And that's just one of the pickups right next to it that I pulled last week that is on, still out there, still on the internet, still getting that link juice, still getting results. And then the next one, April 4th, 2014. Again, same type of thing, a different pickup. This one's on ask.com, and it's still out there. It remains today, and these are not going anywhere. So making sure that we are really, really careful about purging is just a really critical part of our business. And because obviously that's perfect for those tier 2, tier 3 backlinks, the stacking techniques. You get our newsroom, and all of that stuff that we've already talked about. So again, core fundamental part of our planning when we develop Press Advantage. Mm-hmm. So do you remember these numbers? So I knew that we still had this hands-free automatic link building service that was getting ranks on autopilot all day long. And during the time frame that we were actively promoting and selling access to this this tool, we built 7,290,198,762 backlinks to 2,388,700 different keywords. It's almost 5 million links a day and over 200,000 links an hour. Wow. It was a no-brainer for us to take that tool and bring that power to bear on this new service. It was a game changer for our customers and clients then, and it was a game changer for Press Advantage too. Nobody else. Go ahead. Yeah. I
was going to interrupt you for a minute just because the curiosity is killing me. Is there a reason you're not mentioning the name? I know what tool you're talking about, but is there a reason you're not mentioning it?
We're not actively selling it right now, and so it's one of those things.
Create a shitstorm of curiosity, which is what I just did. Huh?
Obviously, there's a lot of curiosity there, and frankly, I'm just part of me is just curious, how many people are wondering about it too, and. I'll be honest, if you're a serious, link builder and you know what to do with a lot of volume, we can talk. But, the reason why we stopped selling it is because when that ranking shift happened, we had a lot of high-powered guys on there, guys that were building, a huge chunk of those daily links, and then we had a bunch of the lower end guys, the beginners, the folks on Warrior forums and these other things. They're taking these canned strategies and dropping them into place, and it was like shooting themselves in the foot once Google started making some of these changes. When you had to build your own strategy and you couldn't depend on all of these other strategies that were out there everywhere, it started causing too much damage, and I can't do that. I can't do that to people. And so, we stopped actively promoting it. We stopped actively selling it. I guarantee we left a ton of money on the table doing that because it's a tremendous tool. And we still have, guys paying us thousands of dollars a month to use it because they know what to do with those links. But we can't, we couldn't take that responsibility for our clients and our customers and say, here's this tool that if you don't know exactly what you're doing and you don't have a custom strategy that that's going to fit in with what the search engines are after today, and you don't keep iterating that strategy, you're going to get everything deranked. I can't sell that.
Yeah, right.
So it would not be right. It would not be ethical, and so that's why we did that. Now, again, if you're one of those guys who knows exactly what to do with thousands of links, give me a call. We'll talk. But, we do not actively sell it. Gotcha. But like I said, nobody can offer this as part of their press release package because nobody else but us has that product. It is literally a product of, thousands of hours of developer time and automation and experience and looking at different ranking strategies and analysis and all that stuff that nobody else could do. It's like having an artificial intelligence sitting there, never sleeping, never resting, doing nothing but building more backlinks to your press releases, giving them that much more authority, relevance, and brand exposure. And you don't have to do a thing. So obviously we added that to the list too. So all of your pickups get this, we run a campaign against it. We don't run it for long. We run it to, for a while just to give it that extra boost.
So you guys are building links to the press releases published for us, is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely. So we are building a lot of links to them, actually. So,
well, that benefits the pressadvantage.com domain anyways.
For sure.
But since most of your professionals since it's your guys that are doing the link building that know what works, then you're not worried about damaging your own domain either, right?
Exactly. But I'll be honest with you. We treat our pickup when it comes to this link building, we treat our pickup, the one that we host, we treat that as equal to everything else. So we are not, sending preferential links to us or anything like that. We want every single pickup to get indexed. We want every single pickup to get noticed. We want every single pickup to get extra, that extra link building done to it. And so we spread it out. The other thing that we do, which I'll kind of drop in here, is we have relationships with a couple of the indexing services that are out there, and every single pickup goes out to that too, just for that little extra boost. So Bobby and I specialize in one thing nowadays, and that's powerful automated tools that help businesses get real results with minimal effort. Automation is key. So when we built this system, we knew it had to be hands-free for the user like you. You have better things to do than babysit another tool. So we do all of the research. You can literally hand us a URL, ask us to write a press release, and off we go. We do all of the writing. No more expensive writing because we handle all of that for you. Everything's custom written just for you. We never reuse content. We don't use the Mad Libs, fill in the blank template releases, and we don't use spun content. We do all of the editing. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have a grammar manual. Our expert editorial staff who edits press releases every single day looks and makes sure everything's perfect. We do all of the submission for you. You don't have to manage the process of getting your release out there. You don't have to handle rejections if something went wrong. You don't have to deal with the news outlets or anything like that. No relationships, no contracts, anything like that. We handle everything for you. We do all of the syndication. You don't have to go out and get your press release posted on hundreds of news outlets. You don't have to lift a finger. We get everything syndicated to news outlet after news outlet for you. And then we do all of the reporting. You don't have to sit on Google searching for your headline, looking for pickups. We give you dynamic reports that keep track of all of these release pickups that we're allowed to report. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And when we get new pickups reported, we add them to that report immediately and you get an email. We do all of that backlinking. We just talked about it. We use our secret link building tool to build tier 2 and tier 3 backlinks to the release pickups, just boosting that relevance even further. Everything's hands-free. Set it and forget it for you, period. Now on that reporting, I'll just kind of touch on this real quick. Some news outlets that we distribute to do not let us hand out their URL. I don't know why. I don't understand it. It's just a contract thing with some of these guys. It's I think it's about 25% of them. And so, just know that, we do kind of talk about that in the reporting, that this is what we're allowed to report. There are some that we can't, but, you can often find some of those, through Google, if you'd like. So just kind of one of those things. It's a common question that comes up. So some people advertise done-for-you services that actually require you to constantly be checking in, make sure things are running smoothly, verify you're getting what you pay for, but that's not us. When we say everything is done for you, we're not kidding. So I'm going to tell you a little story about one of my customers to illustrate what I mean. We're going to call him Jason. Jason is one of our customers from the SEO link building tool. When we announced Press Advantage, he was one of our first customers to sign up. He's in a really cutthroat market, and reputation management is a huge thing for him. And so that's what his focus for Press Advantage was. So this is what he does. He logs in once a year at the beginning of the year. He queues up 3 press releases a month for the whole year and gives these instructions. Here's my website. I want you to write something nice about me and link back with whatever keywords you feel are reasonable. My goal is reputation management. I don't need to review the finished press release, just get it out there. This takes him about a half an hour a year, and then he's gone until the next year. What happens? Every month, like clockwork, our system queues up the next 3 press releases. We research them, we write them, we distribute them, and we email him the reports. He gets those results with half an hour a year. Needless to say, Jason's still one of our customers. He's probably he's probably one of the first 10 customers that we have. And why wouldn't he be? Because he's making this small investment. He's getting these giant results, and there's no time involved. So, like I said, I'm absolutely not kidding when I say fully done for you. So what does this mean? You all get everything I've talked about. So let's talk about what it means for your clients. You get effortless rankings for anything your client wants ranked. Articles, yep. Videos, and news stories, for sure. Your clients are going to dominate the organic results for those local keywords they're after, and they'll own the map pack too. All of this means real revenue to your client, which means your clients come back to you for more. You'll get their brand pages in Facebook and other social platforms. You'll get ranks for them there. You'll deliver better engagement with real customers without a whole lot of effort. And frankly, the biggest problem that I've heard about on more than one occasion from agencies is that they pause campaigns because the clients say they have too much business and they can't handle it all. Can you please slow down so our customers stay happy?
God, that's awesome. That's great.
Seems like a good problem to have if you're asking me, but hey, I'm not a local business, right? So I guess
you get a 1-star review for your agency because you produced too many leads for a business. That's a 1-star review you want to showcase.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to kind of pop up a couple of testimonials here real quick, just some from real marketers, and some of you may know them, some of you may not. These guys, guy and gal, I'm just kind of cherry picking a couple of folks that have done some good stuff with us. I don't want to drown you in testimonials, but just kind of to, make sure that you guys know that this is all legit. This is Corey Michael Sanchez. He's at Mojo Globo. They make some software products, and they do some LinkedIn marketing and some other stuff like that. And as you can see, he says the results speak for themselves. With Press Advantage, I was blown away with how easy it was and how fast it got picked up and ranked. The best part was their done for you service made it completely hands-free. I absolutely recommend it to anyone that's looking to get traffic, become an authority, and get their message in front of the masses. You guys also may know Dory Friend over at SEO Nitro. She says, I submitted my press release to Press Advantage and I had 2 first-page rankings for a huge launch keyword within hours. And then I checked my second keyword and bam, there were 2 first-page rankings for that as well. And it's only been 3 hours. I'm literally and totally jaw-dropping impressed. Now, what she was doing with these was launch hijacking. And those of you who have been around the internet marketing world long enough and do some affiliate stuff, you know what that is. And this is huge for that. I have a guy who's actually looking to target an upcoming launch, and he's ranking site after site after site with press releases. And he's got videos in the SERPs. He's doing all of this with press releases. And the nice thing about launch hijacking like that is the competition's usually pretty low. Yeah. And so it's easy to rank. And so you throw that 1-page site out there, you throw a thin page, a thin site out there with a couple of pages of content, you start pushing press releases, and you rank for that affiliate traffic. So that's just kind of a side note. So who else uses Press Advantage? This is just, I literally, copied this off of my homepage just because I was too lazy to make a new one. But this is kind of one of our logo clouds. You can see there's a number of real estate, agencies involved there. We've got some banks, we've got, financial companies, we've got everything under the sun, really. So, just kind of a little bit of credibility.
I've even published a couple press releases on Press Advantage for Toastmasters because I'm a member of that. So that's funny.
So you've got a couple of options, right? You can learn the whole process from research to writing to editing to distribution to syndication to backlinking, and you can keep up with all those changes. You could do it all yourself. You could hire someone to do it, manage them to make sure it's done correctly. You could use no press releases at all and miss out on the results that we've talked about and watch your clients fly over to the competition who does use press releases. Or you can look at the costs here. So the costs are pretty pricey. Your research and writing, well, $91.60. That's the price I found last night, right? That doesn't even include the research. Pretty soon you're looking at a couple $100 when you include research, and you have to keep enough volume flowing so that these writers don't go find a job somewhere else. You need an editor to proofread it. It costs you about $50. Then you got to submit it through a major PR service, and that's another $400. Then you've got to build backlinks to these syndicated pickups, minimum of $100 or so, plus all the time managing these backlink campaigns. And it takes hours of time out of your day. Like I said, time you could be using for way more productive tasks. So bottom line, doing your own releases without our system could cost you upwards of $800 a release, maybe more, and not to mention the time, the hassles, and headaches. But you have a leg up. You're ahead of the curve because you've got access to SERP Space. SERP Space is a market where you can buy some good press releases. And I say you buy good press releases because if you're a local PR Pro member, you already know that SERP Space resells my press releases. We've already talked about a lot of the reasons why Bradley loves Press Advantage. And if you only need a release or two once in a while, you should absolutely use SERP Space to get a release out through our network. If you're a serious player with serious business, Bradley tells you in these classes to go direct with distributors like us. And that's why we're here today. The guys over at SERP Space that manage the reselling relationship are fantastic at what they do. We love them. They are so easy to work with, but they can't get you the same level of customization, scheduling, and hands-off capabilities that you can get if you go direct with us. You lose a lot of the power of the Press Advantage platform. You lose some of the direct interaction with the researchers, writers, and editors. And so SERP Space, great option if you need a couple of one-off releases. And frankly, going direct with us is overkill if you're not serious about using press releases in your business and you only need them occasionally.
I will totally back that up, guys. I mean, even in like what Jeremy just mentioned in Local PR Pro, I talk about that. You know, obviously, if you're just going to be doing this occasionally as kind of a hobby, if you're just going to dabble in press releases, which I don't recommend doing, but if you're just going to dabble, then go order one-offs from SerpSpace or from wherever, really. But if you're going to be using this as an integral part of your marketing strategy, which every one of you should be, because they just freaking work so well, guys. Telling you it's my favorite backlinking method and authority building method is using press releases, then you want to go direct to the distributors just like Press Advantage because of what Jeremy mentioned. You'll have a better relationship with them, more direct access to the researchers and writers, the support staff, all of that, the organization pages, being able to customize stuff, like all of that is super, super important if you're running this as an integral part of your marketing strategy. So I totally agree with what you said, Jeremy.
All right. So before we go into some of the main feature sets, let me skim through these questions here real quick. Just make sure there's nothing else we need to cover. Let's see. Yeah. So far, a lot of agreements here. Good deal. Yeah, Jeff, when I say pickup, I mean that's exactly what I mean. A pickup is every time a news outlet publishes that press release, we call that a pickup. All right. And yes, BJ, SerpSpace press releases are Press Advantage press releases.
That's correct. It's one of 2 distribution networks.
Yep. All right. So let's go over kind of these main features, right? So we've got world-class releases written by talented US-based writing professionals. We have distribution to hundreds of prestigious news outlets. Google News pickups, completely guaranteed every single time. You always get perfect local citations every single time. And every release that goes out gets you hundreds of new citations from high-quality websites, the ones that search engines really love. Some of you, depending on the plan that you buy or your subscription level, get access to that reverse research keyword spy tool. Really powerful. So there are some people we don't let have access to it.
Keep the riffraff out.
Yeah, that's right. You got to give people that are willing to pay the money to show their commitment. They can get a little bit extra, right? Like I said, you also get that secret sauce SEO promotion that helps rank those releases in Google, and no one can provide that except for us because nobody has this SEO automation tool like us. Someone was asking earlier about retargeting, and yes, retargeting pixels are everywhere. So they're on your organization page, they're on every press release that we host, and they're on every press release that goes out to the news outlets. We support images, so you can embed images on, in your press release. We recommend no more than one, of course. And then we've got great, caring, intelligent, US-based account reps that really bend over backward to personally help you win your customers and get your results. And I'm going to back up that customer service and account rep thing by saying that I personally, as the CEO and owner of the company, I look at every single support request that comes in and I make sure that everybody gets a good, solid answer. And if anybody is ever unhappy, I am always willing to get on the phone and make it right. I take pride in our customer service. I take pride in doing the right thing. And in order for that to happen, I make sure that every single customer issue that comes in gets looked at not only by the customer support folks, but also by me personally.
Wow.
So
that's impressive.
Just throwing it out there. And then we've got this great training and education center. We've got how-to videos. We have some old webinars that we ran that kind of talked about some of this stuff. Just kind of showing you how to use the keyword spy tool, talking about some tactics and things like that. So one of the cornerstones of Press Advantage is our writing and editing staff. These people are frankly wizards at what they do. They take custom writing instructions from you and craft the perfect press release. Never uses a form, never uses a template, and there's never any spinning. Everything's custom written for every single order, every single time, no exceptions. No 2 orders for a organization will be alike. We're not going to copy and paste. And these aren't short little 300, 400 word releases. They start at 750 words minimum. The conventional wisdom, like you see on all these other, those big competitors out there, those high-end guys, they say, oh, well, you just need 400 words. The conventional wisdom is that they need to be short, but really that doesn't reflect reality anymore. Reality is that 400 words is too short when you're looking for search rankings. We all know Google likes content with meat on the bones, and 400 words is just not enough. On the flip side, though, a 2,000 word release or something like that would be great for Google, but it's too long for a press release. So that's why we aim for that sweet spot of 750 to 1,000 words, and those rank, and they rank quickly. Lots of content for Google to index and parse, and since our writers are experts at their craft, these releases start ranking for long-tail keywords that weren't even on your radar within hours. You just don't get that kind of a result with a short little release. It just doesn't happen. Now, I told you I'm not going to lie to you. You can find better distribution out there than we provide, but you're going to pay for it. You can go out and get distribution from the same guys that the big Fortune 500 companies use. And if that's what you want to do, you can afford the $2,900 price tag per release. Go for it. I pride ourselves on having the best distribution in our class. Remember, we don't pad our numbers with subpar pickups that don't provide SEO value. We use real news sites, no PBNs or content farms, newspapers, local affiliates of major networks, radio stations, and more. There's even a small town newspaper down the highway from me, and I live in a real small area, but even they carry our press releases. We're totally results oriented. I could pitch you on 500 pickups and 80% of them are subpar PBNs, but I refuse to do that. It's unethical and it's lying. And if our sites don't perform, we cull them out of the network. So as we know, an important signal for Google is Google News placement, and I guarantee that every single release we issue shows up in Google News. And these releases tend to get top rankings in the news and get those results fast. Now, obviously, this isn't the main search. This is the news search, but it carries weight over into the main SERPs. Now, I didn't cherry pick these releases either. I actually didn't take these screenshots. A couple months ago, Bobby was working on a presentation, and he went and he just grabbed 4 random press releases, and he looked them up in the news results. And you can see the top rankings that all 4 of them got. And I don't know, again, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the bottom right one, the Denver Recruitment Agency, that was 6 hours from nothing until it was on the very top of that keyword. So honestly, sometimes how fast things can happen when we're delivering results surprises even us. Now, you know the value of citations for local rankings, right? And it's obviously very important to have a consistent NAP out there. And you're not going to get good results for local clients without great citations. There's a ton of tools out there for citations, but nothing really beats the power of hundreds of citations that are perfectly crafted to your specification going out to news outlets all over the country, because Google loves citations from news outlets. And the results, they speak for themselves. So every single release we send out hits the wire with citations, the same NAP every time, all on autopilot, so you don't have to lift a finger. So this is the fun one. This tool is something you can't get anywhere else because it's one of those things, like I said, that we built. We've been working on it since 2011, and you can only get it through Press Advantage and our link building tool if you have, if you're lucky enough to have access to it. And you'll pay extra for access to it too. This tool literally does hours worth of research for you in seconds. You feed it a list of URLs and it comes back with a massive list of keywords that those pages are getting organic traffic for. And it delivers the exact match search volume for each one of them. The tactics that you can use with this tool are honestly limited only by your imagination. One of my favorite tactics is to get a massive list of competitive URLs, pages and sites that I really want to own in the SERPs. And I'll run a bunch of reports. And then I'll take all of those reports and I'll drop them into Excel. And I'll sort it and I'll organize and I'll filter. And I'll pick some great phrases that I want to own. And then I'll look at all of the long tails that are in that, even the little ones that are getting 100 searches a month. And then I'll feed all of those into Press Advantage and I'll run press releases with those keywords, and pretty soon you're dominating. So that's kind of a cool little thing. So retargeting pixels. I know someone was asking about them. I'm sure you know what a retargeting pixel is and why they're so important, but maybe some other folks on the call don't. So a retargeting pixel is a little bit of web code that you can put on a web page that lets advertising platforms like Facebook and AdWords know that someone visited your page. This is great because they let you put targeted paid advertising messages right in front of people that have already heard of you and they've already seen your content on the internet. And so like if you've ever gone shopping for something on Amazon and then you notice ads for those items following you around, the internet for the next couple of weeks, that's retargeting. Getting customers pixeled and getting them pixeled cheap is the holy grail of paid advertising. Cost per click drops from dollars to pennies, conversion rates skyrocket, and the cost per sale or lead goes way down. And this is the power of retargeting, and just about everybody who does any significant amount of paid advertising on the internet uses it. Well, not only do we put your pixel or your client's pixel on your media room on pressadvantage.com, but also on every single release you put out, not just on our site, but also out on the wire. These pixels go out on the distribution wire, and when people read your release, they're pixeled for retargeting. The power of getting hundreds of release pickups, all with your retargeting pixels out there where customers find them, should be pretty obvious. So let's talk about Press Advantage 2.0. We're pretty good at what we do, and I'm always making little changes and tweaks to the back end, but every once in a while I'll batch up a bunch of major changes and call it a big feature release. And that's what I'm doing now, and I'm calling it Press Advantage 2.0. Now, I'm going to be completely transparent here. Not everything we're going to talk about right now is ready. When I go into detail about each feature, we'll talk more about that. Bradley and I have been wanting to hold this webinar literally for months, but things on our end kept getting delayed. And Bradley, that had to be kind of frustrating for you, I would imagine.
That's okay. It was worth the wait,
buddy. So when I talked to Bradley a few weeks ago, we decided, you know what, we're not going to wait for all this to land because the prices are going to go up when it all launches anyways. I have no choice to raise these prices because this new distribution is pretty expensive, but it's worth it. You'll see in a minute. But we don't ever raise prices on existing customers. Once you lock in a price, you're locked in for as long as you keep your subscription active. So we decided we're going to give you an opportunity to lock in current pricing before that pricing goes up. Bradley went to bat for you guys to get this pricing. I saw it on PR Pro. We've talked about it on the phone. We've talked about it in email. And that's why I'm here today instead of waiting until all this is done and the price goes up. I really feel bad that we're waiting on that new distribution. So not only do we have that offer, but like I said before, I have a second offer after that first one that's great for you guys that are really serious about your agencies. So enough about pricing for now. Let's talk about these new features. So we've got overhauled distribution, and we'll talk about that in a minute in a little bit more detail. We've got enhanced client-friendly branded reporting. That's another one I've got a slide on, so we'll talk about that in detail. API access. If you know what API access is, you're probably getting pretty excited right about now. Video map embeds. I mean, what needs to be said about that? PR boost. This one can be a game changer, and the test that we've seen says it is. We don't know for sure. This is a gamble on our front, and we definitely want people to use it. The last one is AP Newswire distribution. Now, this is one I went back and forth on because the AP Newswire is not something that shows up on the internet, but what it does do is it goes into databases that newspaper editors and television editors and reporters and journalists, they can search. And so when they're doing those keyword searches, looking for stories to write about or looking for background information on a story they're writing, they go into this AP Newswire database. And so, actually as of about 2 months ago, so this is already live, every single release we go out goes into that AP Newswire database. And so, these journalists and editors can find that. So, but let's talk about the distribution because that's exciting. This is the big news. This is honestly what started this whole Press Advantage 2.0 push to begin with. Bobby and I were talking one day trying to figure out what else can we do to improve our distribution reach. We had realized that we were delivering great results on an SEO perspective, but we wanted to see what we could do in markets that no one else could touch. And we also wanted to try to reach more real people to augment the strength of those SEO benefits that we were already seeing. So we went back to the drawing board, a bunch of phone calls and some hard-nosed negotiations later. I had a plan. Now, what I was just talking about with throwing the costs through the roof and driving our prices up, this is it, and you'll see why. So the first thing that I did is I reached out to markets no one else is serving with press releases. So I've got European distribution coming, 50 sites plus, and not little sites either. I've got cryptocurrency news outlets on boards. These are some major, traffic areas that people are not able to get into. Sites like CoinMarketCap, which is the top cryptocurrency news site on the internet. It's one of the top 300 sites in the United States, period. And I'm adding a bunch of new financial websites like the Motley Fool, Zero Hedge, and some more. And these are some really awesome additions with real authority, but honestly, this is kind of a sidebar to what I'm going to talk about next. This is not what I'm really excited about. Getting press releases out to a wider audience with a human focus, with a side of SEO bonus, that's what I really wanted to do. So I went to where the people are. I've got deals done with mobile carriers, little ones, and little broadband internet service providers all over North America to put us on their landing pages. Now, these landing pages, these are those default start pages for almost every subscriber on their mobile or broadband networks. The pages that they see when they start that browser up. These are little companies like AT&T Wireless, CenturyLink, Atlantic Broadband, Cable One, Cincinnati Bell, all told over 35 broadband providers throughout the United States and Canada. All in all, I'm adding distribution onto massive news sites that get almost 100 million unique visitors a month in aggregate. That's completely aside from the SEO benefits of getting links from those sites. Now, unfortunately, these new distributors move about the speed of a large company, which is slow as a glacier, and these are the ones that have been, dragging down this release. I've been getting it'll be ready for next month answer for months as they work through this integration. But as soon as they finish integrating and I start getting charged for it, my prices have to go up. Getting onto AT&T's homepage isn't cheap. Can you guys see the value in landing on AT&T.net? I mean,
oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
That's a game changer. So, client-friendly branded reports. Now, historically, I've always felt that most of you have your own reporting templates or software that you drop your links and such into. And so I never built a reporting system. Instead, I focused on providing that information in an easy to read format. So, you can download any of our content, all of the links that get built, whether they're the tier 2 and tier 3 links or, the pickup URLs, any of that you can download in a CSV format. So you can drop it into Excel or drop it into a report and, manage that easily. But enough of my current agency customers were asking for some enhanced reporting that they could just kind of fire and forget with. So, I had to build something. Now, these new reports had to be client friendly. There couldn't be any branding on them. Not mine, not yours, just the client. They had to be dynamic, just like all of our other reports. So if you download a report today, they include all of the pickups that we've detected up to today. And if next week we find 10 more and you download a new report, it's got those 10 on there. You always need to have up-to-date pickup details. And then it had to be presentable. So included that as, you had to have a nice copy of the press release. We included that. You can't see that on this cover page, but it's a nicely formatted, it looks a lot like the press release on the site. Looking around the market, it seemed like a lot of folks were charging $20 to $75 for reports like this, but it doesn't cost me anything to give you this. So it's free and it's included for every release, period. So like I said before, API access is one of those things that you either really want or you have no idea what it is or you do with what you do with it. So suffice it to say, it's only one of those features for serious players doing serious volume. Historically, I've refused to open up the API in the past just because it's a lot of overhead on my part for not a lot of gain. There's not a lot of people out there that need API access, and it requires me to personally do the onboarding, which can take up a lot of time as you're going back and forth with developers and things like that. But at this point, enough customers have asked that we open up an API, and so we're going to do it. It's not going to be available to everybody. I'm going to be upfront with that. You got to do some volume, for me to spend, literally days of my time on it with you. But if you're one of those guys, then by all means, let us know. The types of integrations that you can do with this are crazy. You can almost white label our entire system with this. If you had your own back end that your clients can come in and order stuff from, you could do this with that. Like I said, not available for anyone. If you think you can use it after you sign up, let me know. We'll talk. So video and map embeds. This is one of those things that everybody wants, right? So we've handled image embeds for years, but not enough of our upstream partners had video and map embed capabilities. So we didn't want to advertise it. But that's not really a surprise because most of those sites that were, they're PBNs, they're content farms, right? They're pretending to be news outlets, those fake news places. But the market demand has shifted, and a lot more of those legitimate outlets are allowing this type of embeds. And so we're finalizing the support for this right now. There's just some final details that we have to hash out. A couple of our networks want things in a little bit of a weird format that we have to massage, and I need it to be really easy for you. I need it to be, something that you can just kind of drop into an order form and have it show up. I don't want want you guys to have to do a lot of work, because that's what we're all about. We want hands-free automatic stuff. And so, you know, I know you guys are all waiting for this, and it's coming, but I want it to be perfect, or as close to perfect as it can possibly get.
Oh, dude, I'm so stoked for this. It's so awesome.
Yeah, you're not alone. So PR boost. Now this is the flyer, right? This is one of those things that we're taking a big gamble on.
Hey, look what's down in the bottom right corner.
I know, I put that on there for you. I thought you might like that.
It's one of mine.
It is. So this is a totally new offering that's completely out of our wheelhouse, and it doesn't help with SEO really much at all, at least not directly. It'll help from an engagement perspective for sure. And it gets real people to pay attention to whatever you're promoting for your client. So if you remember, I was talking to Bobby about going back to the drawing board and looking for more ways to get engagement from real people and prospects through press releases. This is one of those things that fits into that. I'm calling it PR Boost, and it's available on a per release basis. So you can, after a release goes out, you can add this to it. And here's how it works. So you add it to a press release, and we take a look at that press release, and we dig into what's promoted, what the content of the press release is, what the content of the site is, and then we take that angle, we take, you know, all of that information, and we create a custom audience in Facebook. And then we run paid Facebook advertising promoting that page, driving real people to that client page, not the press release. This doesn't go to the press release. This goes directly to whatever you're promoting. And this has shown some huge potential in our tests. Now, Ken, if you're still there, pay attention. This is one of those exciting ones. You see that that ad there for that house listing? So we ran a test against that at about 50% of our budget, our normal budget, kind of what we're targeting. Within a week, that ad had driven over 300 leads to that listing page. And these aren't random leads. These guys were targeted at, let's see, what age brackets, you know, what career area, what area are they in, what income brackets, all of these things that tighten it down to somebody that can afford that house. I think it was like $550,000 house or something like that. You know, so the commission on that's pretty significant. But this was targeted traffic. These weren't 18-year-olds looking, oh, look at that pretty pool, right? These are, you know, real people that are interested in houses, that are looking to buy. 300 leads on a 50% budget.
Wow.
I mean, we think this could be a game changer. We don't know that this will be a game changer because we don't have enough data yet, but it's ready and it's there, and we're putting it out.
Well, if I can add to this just briefly, because guys, one of the primary ranking factors right now is engagement signals, right? And so any sort of traffic, especially referral traffic coming from social media sites, is highly weighted from Google, especially if they dwell on site or engage on site, which means click through to other pages or scroll down the page, that kind of stuff. Seriously, those are all huge engagement signals that help add site weight, which helps you to, it's essentially site weight in Google is like a measure of authority for your site. And so those types of signals help you to gain site weight, and essentially it adds authority in Google, and you'll start to rank higher just from engagement signals alone. So I haven't tested this much yet either. But I truly believe this is going to help with SEO too.
Now, I do know for a fact that bike light manufacturer, they sold, I think, 80 units off of this test.
Wow.
At half budget. So works for ecom too. I know we've got a couple of ecom guys on the call. So that's it for the new features. Now, like I said, I am not a big sales guy. I'm not going to sit here with a fancy pitch and, like I said, pictures of expensive cars and giant houses and that type of thing. The gurus can have that. You're a smart marketer. You understand the value of press releases for just about everything you do on the internet, getting your own services ranked, getting your client rankings for tough local keywords, the map pack, and everywhere else they want to be. Now, you've probably already been getting results from our press releases through the Semantic Mastery market, or through the SERP Space Marketplace, but you've definitely been missing out on all of the other benefits that we've talked about, the stuff you can't get through a reseller like SERP Space. And there's a couple of other things that Bradley talked me into including. We'll talk about that in a minute. So over the years, I've found a great place to start getting results for client is a 3-release stack. That's kind of our minimum number that we like to recommend. And I want you to try today. Now, to get these 3 press releases research written, distributed from one of those highway robbery providers, that you're looking at $2,400. Randy, I hear you. There will be a replay. There will be a link. I'll get
I
to
was
it
just
soon.
responding to him. I was going to say, yeah, there's a replay, guys. Plus, you can always come back to this event page. The replay will be posted here as well. And I'm going to be dropping the links here once he reveals the pricing. And so you can always just come back and collect the data right from this page.
Yep. So I'm going to blow through this so Randy can see the awesome second offer, and we're closing in on 2 hours anyways. So the regular retail price for 3 press releases on our site is $7.99. Last week I sold that package to a new customer, at a discount for $5.99, and he jumped on it in minutes. But like I said, Bradley wanted a great deal for you guys. He wanted to add in even more value than you get from Press Advantage alone. So we came up with 4 other bonuses to throw in that pot. We'll talk about those bonuses in detail in a minute, but so the 3 press releases retail value from us is normally $7.99. Our first bonus is an automation tool we sell access to for almost $600. The second bonus is a training that I won't sell to anyone anymore, but when I did, it was flying out the door at $197. That third bonus, another training that helps agencies get clients, especially local clients. It's a turnkey solution, and we sold that for $97. The last bonus is a cheat sheet for ideas. It's priced at $37 if it's available. So if you came in off the street to buy everything, your retail price is $17.27. So the fun part is your price obviously isn't going to be $1,700. All these bonuses, they're going to be yours for free. I'm going to cut into our margin on the releases in a big way too, and you're not going to pay $7.99 for them. You're going to pay $347. 3 press releases completely done for you, start to finish, for $347 a month. That's almost 80% off the regular retail price.
That's amazing, guys.
Just kind of to recap, 3 completely done for you press releases worth $7.99 for $347 a month, 80% off. It's $115 a release for the same release that the local PR Pro class teaches you to sell to your clients for $300 a pop. Each release is expertly researched and written by experienced PR writers and then edited to perfection by professional editors. We then handle all of the submissions, syndication of the releases for you, generate dynamic syndication reports, and we email you whenever we find new pickups. Our proprietary SEO secret weapon builds backlinks to your releases all on autopilot. And not only will your pricing stay locked in, but if you don't use all of your credits in a month, they'll roll over for as long as you have an active subscription with us. So if you have a slow month, not a problem. As long as you have that open subscription, those credits will roll over.
That's fantastic, because the done for you written press releases from some of the other distribution networks, the credits do not roll over. You got to use them or lose them every month.
And I'll be honest, everything that all of my placement upstream with my networks is use it or lose it. So I lose money. I leave money on the table basically, if we don't use them. So, but we didn't like that. So again, that's another one of those things, that's just not fair. So that first bonus, that's the reverse research keyword spy tool. So anybody that buys today, like I said, it's kind of an exclusive tool. It's yours for free. It's been in constant development and updates for 7 years. It lets you spy on competitor traffic, finding those sweet long tail keywords that bring in the cash for your clients. The second bonus is the press release print shop. My business partner, Bobby, he's, like I said, he's one of the best copywriters out there. He put together this training on using press releases to connect with local press, how to craft headlines, cheat sheets for powerful press releases. We don't sell this anymore, but when you could buy it, it was $197. But again, it's in for free. You guys can kind of read that. The best thing about this that I like is that email template that you can use. A lot of people ask, how do I get the attention of reporters? That's it. That's how you do it. So the third bonus is our bulletproof local news system. This is a huge game changer, especially if you're having troubles getting local clients, or maybe you're new to the agency business. Bobby wrote up an entire system, fill in the blank sales letter, templates, everything for reaching out to local clients and how to get local clients using press releases. His copy converts, and it converts like crazy. Regular price, $97. Again, same here. We're throwing it in for free.
I'll tell you what, let me jump in on that bonus just for a moment, guys, because I have not tested that, and I should have, Jeremy, honestly, because, I run an agency, and I'm actually teaching in our mastermind right now, prospecting and sales stuff, and we're doing a lot of prospecting training. So, guys, those of you that jump on the offer, and if you're in the mastermind, you'll get the training anyways. But I'm going to take Jeremy's the bonus he just showed a second ago, the bulletproof local news system, and I'm going to put it through the test and actually use that and prospect. I'll make a case study out of it, prospecting using the email template, the method, all of that, and I'll share my results with all the local all the mastermind members, and anybody that takes us up on the offer today. And I'll probably share it in Local PR Pro too, because it obviously is so relevant. But I'll create a case study using his stuff and show you the results that I'm able to attain from it.
Awesome. So the fourth bonus, $37 value. So it's, you know, not quite as much, but this is one of those really important cheat sheets that you don't know what you did without. So one of the biggest problems we heard from our early customers is they don't have ideas for press releases. They didn't think anything they did was newsworthy. Now, I knew you can write press releases on anything, but we didn't have anything a list to give them. So I put Bobby in the corner and made him put together this guide to help with the brainstorming. So he came up with over 100 different reasons. I think it's actually more than 107, but I haven't looked at it in a while, for why you could issue a press release for you, for a client, and so you'll never be stuck. And I'm only half serious that when I say that if you can't find a reason to send out a press release after you read this list, then maybe you shouldn't be in business, because there's not a whole lot going on in your business. So the last one, and this is one that Bradley doesn't even know about because we didn't talk about it. I'm throwing in a one-on-one strategy call with me. Usually I have a $299 fee when I do this for client onboarding for a strategy call. If you sign up today, you get one for free, period. And you can kind of see Alan's one of my recent customers that I helped out get his e-commerce strategy going, and you can see what he says there. So again, the offer recap, 3 releases, all of those bonuses, $397 a month, or that should say $347 a month. Sorry about that, guys. So we also have a 100% money back guarantee, and it's ironclad, period. No questions asked. If you're not completely thrilled, cancel at any time. You get a refund for your most recent month of service if you're unhappy, period. And that rolls over too. So if you're a customer of ours for 6 months, in the 7th month, we really screw something up for you and you're really mad at us and you want to cancel and get a refund, done, no questions.
Wow, that's impressive, man.
One of the I got to be honest, I'm a little selfish when I do this, because not only, like I said before, I pride myself on our customer service and our customer support and doing the right thing, but I want the type of lower billing, fees that I get from my merchant accounts if I have low chargeback rates.
Yeah.
Right? I have my chargeback rate over the last 10 years, thanks to this, is less than 1%.
Wow.
Period. And that includes all of those. Remember the Warrior Forum newbies that I was talking about with that link building product? A ton of fraud going on there because you get these, these spammy guys coming in. That includes all of that. I think I've had maybe 2 chargebacks in Press Advantage for the life of it. Period. And that's because of this. People know that if they're not happy, they just come and they say, "Hey, here it is." So, but like I said before, there's more. So before you jump on that offer, I do have a little confession. Last night, Bobby and I, we were looking at the offer that I'd put together and something just wasn't right. We went around and around trying to figure it out. And I realized that frankly, it just wasn't a good enough deal. Sure, it's the best pricing we've offered literally in years, but I was having a hard time with the fact that our new distribution still isn't ready thanks to our slow partners. You can't imagine just how much time and effort I've put into those agreements, not to mention the development time just to sit and wait for those massive companies to get their act together. So I spent hours with spreadsheets last night, cutting to the bone, and my wife went to bed kind of annoyed with me that I was still up working on this. And I got so frustrated, I threw away the spreadsheet and went back to the drawing board and started over. Bobby and I both agreed that it was necessary to make an offer that has your jaw dropping in disbelief, an offer that I am 100% positive you cannot refuse. And then I noticed, after I pulled my spreadsheets back out, we're getting pretty close to getting some volume discounts from some of our distribution networks. So I decided to do something completely crazy and something we might lose our shirts on. And I really hope Bobby doesn't mind, because he's going to find out about this in about 3 minutes. Today only, before you get started with us, I'm going to make a second crazy upgraded offer to you and the other buyers on this webinar right now. Take it or leave it. It's not ever going to be available again. I can't offer it to people on my list, let alone the general public. It'll never be posted on our website, and we won't sell it to you anywhere besides on this webinar and a replay, even if you begged, and you'll see why in a second. Now, this isn't for everyone. For the people who can take advantage of it, though, it's a no-brainer. Here's the story. The press release business is a volume-driven business. The more press releases I distribute every month through Press Advantage, the better price per release I get with my news organizations that feature the stories. So I have a goal of getting Press Advantage submitting over 1,000 releases a month. And at that point, we're going to get a really big volume discount, which will save us some money. And it'll also give us a better chance at negotiating better direct deals and new direct deals with even more respected news providers who wouldn't want to talk to us if we're little. I mean, it might even get a better discount with AT&T. I don't know. So I get excited about this kind of stuff. I love big goals. So in order to hit that goal faster, I decided to try something a little nutty. Today only, well, and replay, right? I'm making available an unlimited press release plan for a price that is way better for you than it is for me. It's just $497 a month, flat fee, unlimited distributions forever. Yeah, you heard that right. Submit as many press releases as you possibly can every month, all year round, one price per month.
Guys,
go ahead.
Like all the other bullet points, like you can forget about all the rest of the bullet points. The fact that you get unlimited press release distribution for $497 a month, guys. Think about how much damage you can do with that, guys. Think about that shit. Even if you had to, and Jeremy's going to add some other stuff to this offer too, but even if you had to pay for the writing itself, think about for each press release, think about that. Using Jeremy's method of 3 press releases, recommended 3 press releases per month per local business. Think about how many businesses you could serve. I mean, it's essentially unlimited for that price for $497 a month, guys. It's absolutely insane. When he told me this offer prior to the webinar, which he like 5 minutes before we started the webinar, he told me this offer. I was like, that's fucking incredible, man. That's insane. That's a great offer, guys. So anyways, Jeremy, sorry, I just got excited.
Hey, no problem. So, but like you said, this comes with even more, right? We're throwing in 6 free writing credits each and every month. It makes it dead simple to get your money's worth, because at minimum, you just send us 6 keywords every month and get those 6 press releases written, distributed, completely done for you, start to finish. And that by itself is obviously worth a subscription. $497 is a much better price than we normally offer for 6 done for you releases. Rack rate on that, I think, is about $1,400, even if you never use the whole unlimited releases part. But really, I imagine this being something where you submit releases all the damn time and milk this opportunity for all it's worth, because, well, that's the point. Keep the subscription as long as you like, and I promise that we will honor the deal. I've established, hopefully, that we stand by our word, and we do here too, as long as you don't cancel. Upon cancellation, of course, it's gone forever, even for our best buddies. The offer is only available now, and it's non-negotiable. I only need a couple people to hit those goals, and I honestly, I need to limit my exposure in case this is a really expensive mistake. So you're probably thinking, boy, this sounds good, almost too good. Are there any catches to the deal? How does it compare to the regular subscription? Well, we talked about the earlier offer. That normal price for 3 releases, $7.99, fully written, distributed every month. $347 is your price today. You're adding $150. You're getting twice as many releases and written for you, and unlimited, release distribution. So these releases are absolutely worth it at rack rate, and our clients love it because the writing and distribution is excellent. In fact, the competition, like we've established, charges almost twice that just for distribution without writing. Now, you can use unlimited press releases for anything related to your business. Now, you can't resell them on a marketplace like Fiverr or something like that, but if you're an agency, use them for all of your clients all day long. Now, what you've just heard is not even close to what you have the chance to lock in right now. So this plan comes with those 6 releases, unlimited do-it-yourself distribution. The written for yous, again, nice bonus, but unlimited distributions are simply not offered by anywhere else. And, I was writing this up yesterday, and halfway through it, I thought about tearing it up, because I know that this could really blow up in my face. And, I say maybe I was sleep deprived. I was definitely sleep deprived. It was about 11:30 at night last night when I was
take advantage of his sleep deprivation while you can.
So these releases cost us money to submit, so we can only gamble on a few accounts just to get that volume up to where we want it. But that's also why that unlimited account is really powerful. I mean, think about the possibilities. It opens up the door to bulk strategies that could never be cost effective otherwise. I started dreaming up the possibilities, and I haven't stopped coming up with more and more ideas. I mean, think about all the long tail keywords that don't drive enough traffic to justify a couple $100 press release. Now you can target those every single day. It's just not cost effective unless you have a giant budget. But this plan, it changes all of that. and your competition, they don't get it. They won't have access to it. So talk about a leg up.
Now, yeah, guys, and just think about alone the 6 done for you written press releases, right? That alone, that's roughly $80 per press release that you're paying for to have it written and distributed with all of the added benefits of the 2.0 distribution network, the map embeds, video embeds, all that other stuff you get for less than $80 or about $80 per written press release. And then on top of that, once you've exhausted that, and remember, guys, my recommended minimum pricing for press releases to sell to local businesses is $300 a piece. Obviously, if you sell them on a package deal, you can reduce that a bit. But my point is $300 on a retail that you're paying essentially $80 for. So think about how much markup that is. And then at the end of that, once you got those 6 done, you can still distribute or submit as many press releases as you'd like for the month, as long as they've already been written. And remember, Press Advantage has the excellent writing services. You just add that. It's just an add-on. Basically, it's a, what's the cost for the writing, Jeremy?
$50.
That's it.
Yep.
That's great.
And one of the nice things about driving volume is if I hit some more of these volume things, I can probably kind of carve into my expenses there too. So that number might even drop a little bit.
That's even better.
Yeah. So just a quick story. Back in the day when GoToWebinar was kind of first getting started, they offered plans for way cheaper than they did today, like $99 a month or something like that. In 2010, they jacked their prices big time, and they placed limits on how many people you could have for that price. So your webinars were capped. So what happened next? Well, people were hoarding those grandfathered plans and selling them to their friends. If you canceled, you could never get that old price back. It seems stupid, but I got to be honest, I even tried to buy one from a friend who wouldn't sell it to me. So, but I don't want these unlimited accounts getting sold. But I could see this turning out somewhat similarly. So we won't offer it again, and it's going to be valuable forever. So don't feel regretful once this offer is gone. So just to recap, you get 6 writing credits, unlimited standard distribution, all of those bonuses for the absurdly low price of $4.97 a month. Cancel anytime, no strings attached, no commitments. This offer expires after this webinar is over or after you watch the replay, and it will never be available again. Now, some of you are already asking, can I really use this for anything I want? Well, we see all the releases that go through our system, and it's a pretty open environment. And we are very supportive of client serving customers, and agencies are some of our favorite customers. Our main goal with any kind of restriction on these is just to make sure you're not launching your own press release business using this plan. If we ever have any concerns about your usage, we'll get in touch. So here's the 2 offers. So like I said, that unlimited offer, that is literally an exploding offer. It goes away, and it goes away soon. So any questions?
Let's get to them, man. Guys,
let me scroll back a little bit here. Boy, where did we go? All right. Yeah, Wayne's bummed about no porn. Well, that's okay, Wayne.
Wayne's he's being funny.
Like he's participating.
I'm surprised he hasn't memed you yet, Jeremy. He's our memer.
Kendrick asks, would a PR for local business have the same kind of stickiness? Kendrick, I'm not sure what you're talking about with stickiness. Maybe there was some context there that I missed. Maybe you could ask a little bit. Bunch of people asking about the name. I bet they're talking about the link building.
Yes, they are. And I almost dropped it on
I'm not going to say anything. How many links into your structures, Jonathan? Yeah, again, I think we're missing some context there. Yeah, you already answered Greg. You already answered BJ. Lane, you can embed your retargeting pixel per organization. So each organization gets you can actually define multiple pixels for each organization and choose that on a per release basis. So if you have different strategies that do that. Personally, we just use 1 pixel for everything, but I guess other people might do things.
Yeah, it's just a simple drop-down selection, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Shannon asks about follow and no follow links. We are firmly in the camp of Google likes to see a good mix of the 2 in your backlink profile, and so that's what we adhere to. The links from our site are follow, and the pickup links are a mix. Poor Randy, I'm guessing he had to leave. Hopefully he picks up on this. So Ken, you're asking about the demographic targeting for PR Boost. What we do is we look at your site and we look at the niche that you're targeting, and we look at the content that you're targeting, and if it's a special promotion or anything like that. And then we use our experience and our researching to figure out what audience, how tightly we can niche that audience down to get a really effective ad campaign. And that's what we do. Rolling credits. Kendrick asks about 3 in a month. Can they go to more than one single client? Yeah, Kendrick, we don't care who you send these releases to. You can use it to one client. You can use it to 3 different clients. You can save up 50 of them and use them all at once. It doesn't matter. Wayne asked about larger packages. Well, obviously the unlimited package is larger, Wayne. If that one doesn't work for you, then by all means let me know and we'll come up with something great. Tellus says he signed up already. If you want into the unlimited plan and you didn't get into it because you got anxious and signed up for the 347 plan, let us know. Send an email to support and we'll get you switched over. Not a problem. Greg says it's a no-brainer. I'd have to grab it. Hey, Greg, this is great for e-commerce as well. I would, that guy that I talked about who's sending out all those press releases for for his e-commerce, for his Amazon storefront, he has a similar plan. It's not as good as this, but it's pretty cheap, and it enables him to. That's what enables him to send out so many press releases. And so this is a game changer for e-commerce also. Yeah, BGS, you already answered that. Micah asked about the distribution of self-written press releases are free. Yes, Micah, that's exactly what I mean. And we have guidelines on our website that helps you write press releases if you've never done it before. But like Bradley pointed out, you can still opt to have us write a press release. All you have to do is pay for the writing overhead. What I'm doing with the unlimited is I'm basically eating that distribution cost and not charging you for it. And so the only piece of that press release that you're going to pay is for the writing aspect of it.
Yeah, and again, Micah, if you are, if you have a PR writer already, like in-house, or you've somebody that you've contracted, then that's fine. You can submit those. But I recommend if you don't already have that, then just using the Press Advantage writing services, which you'll just pay for each written press release at that point, not for the distribution. Because once again, their writers are highly skilled. They know exactly what it takes to get to pass the editorial, to pass the editing process. You know what I mean? So that they get picked up and distributed. And they're really good. The content of the written press releases from the Press Advantage writers are really good. It's going to be hard to beat that, even with your own PR writer.
All right. So Paul asked about the backlinking. Is it still part of the unlimited plan? Yes, absolutely. The unlimited plan includes everything from the standard offer, period. And it just gives you twice as many written for you and unlimited self-written. Greg asks if the unlimited account can be downgraded to the 3 per month in the future if things change. We do have some downgrade offers available, Greg. Typically speaking, what happens is we'll try and find you something comparable. When you come in through a webinar like this, then we will typically look at that other offer and go from there. So we work with you. We have other smaller packages too. We also include maintenance packages. So for example, like I said, your credits roll over as long as you maintain an active subscription. We have a fairly low price point maintenance account if you need to put your subscription. We don't call it on hold, but if you want to maintain your subscription, but you have, life gets in the way, you're revamping your strategy or whatever, and you want to, you need to just kind of step back and reduce the costs, then we have, smaller, monthly hit type of release packages that you can go on to maintain, you make sure you keep all those credits. Now, obviously, like I said, if you come off of that unlimited offer, I'm sorry, I can't give it back to you. I guess the only exception to that is if, occasionally PayPal messes up or something like that, and, there's a problem there, and you auto cancel. If you kind of come right back, then it's not a problem. But if you ever kind of intentionally cancel, then, unfortunately, I can't put you back on that plan. So thanks. Kendrick, you're asking about the stickiness again. So yes, those 4-year-old press releases are, I mean, all they are is just let me see if I can pull that up actually. Let's see here. Where is that slide?
I can show a couple examples too, if needed.
Well, there was actually one on there that is directly relevant, I think, to what he was asking. There we go. Here it is. All right. So if we look at this one, so Trek Mount Kilimanjaro. These guys are doing, expeditions to Mount Kilimanjaro. So if they can do it, then yeah, you can. I mean, these will stick and they'll work for anything. The sites that we have agreements with, they do not care what the content is as long as it's in the, kind of in that, in the categories that are acceptable. And so, as long as it's good content, it sticks. So I hope that answers your question. Greg asks about Amazon listing and brand store page. What's the ideal number of press releases a month? Again, our kind of minimum is 3 to 4, and that's what we're really after. We certainly see great results with doing more. And if you are trying to promote multiple storefronts or multiple verticals, so let's say you're in the you're in the home and garden niche and you're in the pet products niche, you may want to put 3 or 4 at each of those niches every month. Clint says he signed up. Hey, thanks, Clint. Clint, check your LinkedIn. I noticed that you and I are both connected to an old friend of mine, and I just wanted to talk and see where you know him from. Little personal aside there. Tell us, got it fixed. Great. Any other questions?
Guys, if there's a little bit of latency on the Hangout, so if there's any other questions, go ahead and post them. I just want to mention once again, like how awesome this offer is, guys. I'm not kidding. It is a fantastic offer. The upgrade offer especially is I mean, that's unheard of, guys. I'm looking at getting a couple of those accounts, one for me, one for Semantic Mastery, one for my agency, one for Semantic Mastery. So honestly, guys, I would highly recommend cancel some of your subscriptions to some of the other shitty services that you've got right now that you don't use half the time anyways, or that are ineffective, and invest your money in something like this that absolutely works, guys. We have proven it over and over and over again that the press releases are hands down one of the best methods you can use for external backlinking, for building authority, for maps pack ranking, for driving traffic, for everything. It works. And I don't see that going away anytime soon, like a lot of the gimmicky, spammy shit that other methods that people teach, or tools that do stupid things. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a loophole that people exploit for a period of time. Press releases have been working for me for years. Jeremy's in the business for that reason. So again, guys, I would highly recommend that you invest in something that's really going to progress your business.
Absolutely. And like I said before, we're constantly watching what comes through our networks, and we're watching how people are using them. We're learning, we're seeing what results they get that way. And when people get on the phone with me, they want feedback on tactics and campaigns. We're always able to kind of help out with some of those new strategies that are working, because things do shift around a bit. But fundamentally, press releases have been around and they're gonna be around. And there's just no two ifs, ands, and buts about it.
That's right.
Greg is asked.
I heard a quote the other day, Jeremy, that said they're not teaching any new fundamentals.
Right.
Think about that, guys. They're not any new fundamentals. Like fundamentals are fundamentals because they work. They're foundational stuff that you should be doing, and press releases should be part of that strategy.
Exactly. There you go, Dan. There's a summary slide there. Greg is asking for more information on the process or benefits of embedding the Press Advantage page on your own site. That's the iframe thing. Bradley, yeah. Maybe you want to talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, the value of that. That's been covered in some of our paid programs, which many of you I know are part of. Syndication Academy, if you're still part of that, Greg, I know you were at one point. If you go look at the February update webinar from this year, you'll learn all about it. It was also revealed. We also shared that in one of the mastermind newsletters, and we also shared that in Local GMB Pro, and I think, well, maybe it was RYS Academy. So it's stuff I can't talk about publicly because it's paid training. But if you have access to Syndication Academy, it was first covered in February 2018 update webinar. Go check it out.
Any other questions?
I don't see anything coming through, man, and we're at the almost.
Boy, thanks, Dan, Greg, Guy, John. Boy, I mean, I'm looking over here at my other window at the sign up list, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Awesome. Well, I told you our crowd is a savvy crowd, and I think they recognize a good opportunity when they see it, man. And again, Jeremy, I can't thank you enough for putting this offer together for us in our group, because this is an outstanding offer.
Yeah, you bet. So why don't we give it a few more minutes for other questions to roll in? And I mean, we're already at 2.5 hours, so we may want to let people get a break.
Yeah, so, Greg, it is an RYS Academy. In fact, just go look at one of the more recent update webinars from RYS Academy Reloaded, and Rob and Marco go into great detail, or they expand upon my local iframe loop method, and so you'll get all the training from that.
All right. Questions?
I don't see any more coming through, man.
I don't either. So we'll leave this offer on the table for you guys, for as long as the replays are live. And, we'll probably leave that standard offer going for a while, but I can't leave that unlimited offer, open for, really any longer. If any of you on the call have any questions, reach out to us. The easiest way to get a hold of me, like I said, is actually through our support desk, because I look at every ticket as it comes in. They literally show up on my phone as they come in, and I see them. So send an email to support@pressadvantage.com and just put like attention Jeremy or something like that in the subject line. That way it'll get routed to me, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have about the plan, help you get going, anything like that. So, by all means, reach out. Any questions, happy to answer.
All right. So last thing I want to mention, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and set up a case study, like I said, using the bonus that Jeremy's providing for outreach and for cold contacting and selling local businesses, the PR strategy. So I'll set that up. Don't expect it next week or within 2 weeks or something like that, because it's going to take me a little bit of time. But since I'm prospecting anyways, I'd love to test this method. And so anybody that purchased, if you're not already in the mastermind or local PR pro, then just contact us at support@semanticmastery.com. Tell them that you'd like to be placed on a list to get the case study training for actually that I set up for this, and I'll make sure that you get access to that. Okay. Okay, I think we're good, man. Jeremy, once again, thank you so much for your time today. I certainly appreciate it. What an amazing offer. We'll promote the hell out of this for the next couple of days to our list to try to get as many people to sign up and take advantage of your sleep deprivation while we can.
Yeah, I haven't heard from Bobby yet, so I hope that's a good thing. So he's not blowing up. Actually, you know what? I don't know if he's blowing up my phone because I turned it off before we started.
There you go. Well, just ignore it for a couple more days, please.
That's right. That's right. So, well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned a lot. And if you, like I said, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. I have an open door policy, whether you're a customer or not. So
awesome. Thanks again, Jeremy.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, guys.